Charm Chats with Kendra and Kat. Just a couple of girls talk about this and that. Get familiar with Blue and the charmed ones too. Charm Chats. Welcome to Charm Chats with Kendra
and Kat.
Woo! We have moved locations yet again.
Yep.
Mostly, this will definitely be temporary. We're trying to find a better spot in my basement to record. One that's not directly below my roommate's bedroom with her dogs.
Yes.
Much as we love my roommate and her dogs.
They move too much.
Yeah. And there's no insulation under the floorboards, so.
Yeah.
Noise.
Yeah. So, I'm hoping this room isn't too echoey, but...
We'll find out.
Yeah.
Or you'll find out.
Yes. I will definitely find out during editing.
Yes, you will. But of course, the consequence of being in this new room is that there is a couch, and Blue is currently perched on it, like an owl expecting handouts.
It's adorable.
It's adorable.
Indeed. So we're to episode 117.
Yes, we are.
I'm so excited.
This is a great episode.
I love this episode.
I don't remember having read any, rankings for episodes of Charmed. I know I've read one for, Buffy and a couple other things. I think Gilmore's, I read one. But I would put this in the, top 10?
Yeah.
Although, not for script.
No.
Just, this is important, and it's... They tried to stick a 70-minute plot into 45 minutes.
Yeah. It's definitely not a well-written episode. Oh. It's a well-acted episode.
Yeah, that reminds me I forgot to come up with a rating.
Oh, Jesus, woman.
I told you I forgot to take notes. I just watched it twice. Wow. I have the time to do that because I don't go into your level of detail.
Very true.
And also, I wanted to finish up Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which, dear listener, as it happens, was serendipitous because Daryl was in an episode.
Yes.
It was great. For all of 12 seconds, but he was there. I was so happy.
I wonder if that's on his IMDb.
It should be. We see his face. He says words. If he didn't already have a SAG card, he would have gotten one.
Yes, he was Undersecretary Walter Thomas.
Yes, that was it.
In the Absolution episode. So there you go.
Yep. That just made me happy. Because I watched that this morning.
Very cool. My favorite is back in 2009. He was on an episode of Without a Trace, and his character was just called Man. It's great.
Oh, man.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Mm-hmm. See, okay, so I haven't looked up Dorian Gregory and, actually, looked at, whatever, but I just noticed that he was in the movie Deliver Us from Eva.
I forget what that one's about. Right, yeah.
That's the LL Cool J Gabrielle Union.
Yeah.
Romantic comedy.
Yeah.
Or, romantic dramedy. Yeah. From 2003.
As much as I understand the idea that something that is dramatic can also be comedic and vice versa, stop using the word dramedy. Please stop.
Hey,
It doesn't really describe what you're looking for. I wish there were more words in the English language to be able to do this.
Yeah.
Because Gilmore Girls would definitely be in that category. It's mostly a drama, but it's fucking hilarious.
Indeed.
I would not count Charmed in that because it really is almost entirely a drama that has some funny quips. It's not enough of a percentage, but it should be kind of like a trifold Kinsey scale thing. Well, no, that's not even trifold. That's just a fucking Kinsey scale where drama and comedy are the two ends.
Yeah.
Monty Python would definitely be toward the end of comedy.
Yes. Well, see, here's the thing. I think that, if a TV show is part drama, part comedy, most of the time they say if it's more drama than comedy, it becomes a dramedy. But if it's
I hate that it's not a reversible portmanteau either.
Well, yeah, because if it's more comedy than drama...
It just gets called a comedy.
Yeah.
That's not...
Because...
It's not reflective.
No, because, there's no real way to make it... What would it be called?
Comma?
Yeah. A comma. Or a...
Coma.
A coma. A chroma.
Chroma? Cro-Magnon.
Sure. I don't know. I apologize in advance if you hear any noises from outside or with Kendra playing with the dog, because the dog is now in a pouch on her stomach.
This is how we play.
Okay, so episode 117, That 70's episode.
So named after That 70's show.
Which actually premiered and ended the same years as Charmed.
Oh!
Yeah.
I feel like we discussed it before, but it's still, like, kind of mind-boggling.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe because 70's show is still so much in the public conscious.
Yeah.
And Charmed kind of isn't.
Isn't anymore, yeah.
And also, I guess because, that 70's episode, they were going for the 70's aesthetic entirely.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say that 70's episode?
Yes.
Okay, I meant show. They were really going for the 70's aesthetic, and, it was a little bit, heightened,
Mm-hmm.
but it just felt more like a modern thing. They probably had better cameras, let's face it, because Charmed, especially in the first season, is a bit grainy.
Yeah, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It aired April 7th, 1999, and we start out with an exterior manor shot, and then inside the wicker room on the cafe table.
It sounded like you said Wicca room.
Well, you know.
The wicker.
Yeah. Prue and Phoebe are looking through photo albums. Oh God, what?
It's a wicked wicker.
You from Boston? With your wicked cool?
I'm not, but thank you for asking.
Mm-hmm. Anyway. Sitting at the cafe table, Prue and Phoebe are looking through photo albums. Prue is in a white shirt that's just a little too long to be a crop top.
But a little too short to be a shirt.
Yeah.
And considering her pants are definitely not at her hips, they're more, they're pretty much at her waist.
Yeah. And they're khaki pants. And she has a black hoodie. And she doesn't seem to be wearing a necklace.
I didn't notice one.
Yeah, I didn't see one.
But yeah.
Phoebe.
Yeah. Well, no. The t-shirt, it's clearly a t-shirt. But why is it so short?
Yeah, I don't know. The only thing I can think of is that it isn't her shirt. And so therefore it doesn't really fit her as well, I guess. I don't know. But Phoebe is wearing dark red pants and a pink shirt that has long bell sleeves and a penis collar.
Okay. Yeah, I see that.
Because, I mean, seriously.
It's a little bit.
It's a little bit of a penis collar. It's a little short, little stubby.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
It's a micro penis collar.
Yeah. Picture will be on the website. It's basically like a V-neck with a scoop. It's
not really a scoop. It's more...
It's hard to describe other than penis collar.
It's a scoop with a little V detail, but the way it stretches on her makes it look like a micro penis.
Yeah, it's a little
where the scrotum is around her neck.
Yeah, it's a little penis-esque.
Yes.
A little bit. So Phoebe is complaining that there aren't any pictures of her growing up, which Prue thinks is impossible because she wasn't exactly camera shy.
And Phoebe is flipping through all of these little snapshots, and she's saying, this is you and Piper, and you and Grams, and look, it's you and Piper again! Slowly getting more frustrated.
Yeah.
Until Prue spots one of her and Grams, and there's a really cute photo.
And Phoebe thinks she looks cute in it, which I thought was adorable.
Well, she does. And it's really adorable because it's definitely Grams, and it looks... I don't know what little actress they got to play Phoebe, unless it was just one of the two little girls in a wig.
No, I don't think so.
They probably pulled someone on set.
Yeah, they're like, hey, does anyone have a daughter? Anyone have a kid?
Who can just come in and take a snapshot? Or, maybe it's one of... Sorry, I'm forgetting the actress's name.
Alyssa?
No. Grams.
Jennifer,
okay, yes. So maybe Jennifer's daughter, granddaughter, relative, I don't know. Maybe it was someone she knew, and they're just like, hey, while you're in, 70's clothing, would you mind taking a photo with a little girl and pass it off as Phoebe?
Maybe.
Because it's easy enough to make that homework. Here's a camera, here's a Polaroid, and take it, shake it, return it to set.
Yeah. But it's not even really, I don't even know. It doesn't really even look like a Polaroid.
Let me see.
Because it doesn't have, the thick bottom that a Polaroid has.
This is true. But also, it's possibly not in the house. That set that they're on.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not taken in the manor.
Mm-hmm.
That's taken someplace else.
Yeah.
But then we get a picture of Phoebe with Mom.
Yes, and that's definitely on the couch that they still have.
No, I don't think so.
It looks... Well, okay, that's definitely in the manor, though.
Yeah, it's definitely in the manor, but I think that's a different couch.
It fits in with what they have now. Because what they have now, they clearly, like, didn't buy themselves.
Yeah.
It's been there.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the couch that they had in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
When they go back in time.
Yeah, and that's an entirely different kid, too. From the kid that they were photographing with Grams.
Well, yeah, because this kid's supposed to be younger.
Well, yes, I know that. But, like, they look similar enough, I'm wondering if they're sisters.
They could be.
Like, whose kids are those?
Don't know.
Why has no one recorded any information on that? It'd be great.
No.
Just for, inquiring minds and all that.
Like ours and such. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
But so, we have Mom, who has been finally cast.
As Finola Hughes.
Yep. Most people will know her from General Hospital.
Because she's been on it fucking
forever.
long.
Yeah.
Like, since it began, basically.
Yeah, kind of.
Off and on.
Yeah. And she was also on All My Children for a bit, playing the same character as the one that she plays on General Hospital, as well as her General Hospital character's identical twin. Which is weird, because I didn't know those two soap operas were in the same universe, but apparently they are,
Yeah.
People who don't watch soap operas, but watched early 90s TV, may know her as Carol from Blossom.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Some quick facts. She's 5'5". She's been married to the same guy since the 4th of July in 1992.
Aww.
They have 3 kids. Son Dylan Joseph. Son Cash Justice. What a name.
Oh, dear.
And daughter Sadie Beatrice.
When was Sadie born?
I want to say 2004.
Okay.
Both Cash and Sadie are adopted.
Oh.
Yeah. But my favorite trivia.
Wait, so someone else named their kid Cash Justice and they happened to adopt him?
No, I think they got him when he was like 4 months old.
Oh,
or something.
okay.
Or they got her when... I don't know. They got them when they were
because those
very
kind of
young.
names are a very niche sort of thing.
Yeah, no, they got them when they were very young. I'm sure they named the kids. But my favorite trivia is that she originated the role of Victoria in the original London world premiere production of Andrew Lloyd Webber's Cats.
See, I don't remember Victoria
okay, it's
as
all right.
the cat.
Victoria, the white cat,
okay.
dances to signal the beginning of the Jellicle Ball, and she does a pas de deux, which is a dance duet, with
Mephistopheles? No.
Plato.
Plato, okay.
With Plato during the Jellicle Ball, and she's the first to touch Grisabella.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Wait, was she in the one that got recorded on VHS?
Nope.
Damn it.
Nope.
Because that's the one I've seen.
Yep, no.
A bunch.
No. But a little quick trivia on the character of Plato. The actor that plays him usually doubles as McCavity, because McCavity isn't on stage for very long.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, enough wiki tangenting for now. Let's get back to the show. Phoebe, who's looking at the picture of her and Mom, says that she doesn't remember that picture, but she figures that she had to have been about 2.
So that makes sense.
Yeah. Which means that Mom died the next year. But the way that she says that, she says, she died on us a year later.
Yeah, died on us.
Yeah.
It was a little bitter.
It was a little bitter, but she says she died on us a year later, and somebody in the Wikipedia or the IMDb or something was like, she died, in February of 78, which means that Phoebe would have been just 2. Like they were going on about the thing.
No, Phoebe was born in
77, but she was born in November of 77.
Okay, not according to this episode. Are we going to get to that?
What do you mean not according?
They go back to 1975, and Mom is already pregnant with Phoebe.
Yeah,
so she was either born in 75 or 76.
She was born in 75.
Okay, you said 77.
Sorry. She was born in November of 75.
You're creating your own inconsistencies, Kat.
No. Sorry. Because I was trying to say, this episode takes place in March of 75. Well, when we get back in time, it takes place in March of 75. She was born in November of 75, and then the picture was taken when she was about 2, and then Mom died on them a year later. But Mom dies in February.
Well,
so
saying
if
about 2, she could have been anywhere from 18 months to 2. Like,
right,
that's not a problem.
Right, but that's what I'm saying, is the person on IMDb or the Wikia was saying that, she had to have been, less than 2. But it's like, it doesn't really matter. Like,
it's not that important. They weren't getting into the down and dirty details.
They didn't mean that she died in November of 78. It means she died the next year.
Yeah.
That's all that meant. Like, whatever. Just, I digress.
You usually do.
I do indeed. A lot, in fact. So, Piper enters the room. She's wearing jeans and a long-sleeved gray shirt. She says that she needs a pen and paper and tries to open a desk drawer that's stuck.
Yeah. Just a dust door in the conservatory.
Yeah. And she's like, we don't have a lot of time. And Phoebe goes up, hits it twice on the top, and then kicks it once on the side with her knee, and the door just pops open. Yeah.
And Piper looks back at her kind of scathingly, like, I'd always wondered how you got into my candy drawer. Bitch, if it's your candy drawer, why couldn't you open it?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I thought. I was like, this is the candy drawer. You're saying it's your candy drawer? Why can't you open
Also,
it?
I've never seen more obvious foreshadowing of a plot element in an episode ever.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Unless they specifically say, gee, insert item or event doesn't happen. Like...
Yeah. I hope this doesn't happen. Cut 5 minutes later, and it does.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
See, that can be used for comedic effect, or it can just be lazy storytelling.
Yep.
And sometimes it's both.
Yeah, a little bit of both. Yeah. So, Piper is saying that she thinks it'd be easier to write what's-his-name a note.
Prue's confused.
Yeah.
Like, who? What? What's going on?
Yeah.
Which, I thought it was odd that Prue wouldn't remember.
Yeah, a little
Because
bit.
apparently, as Piper reveals, their grandmother would get a secret admirer coming around with flowers every year, same day, same time.
Yeah.
And Prue is the one who doesn't know this is happening. Phoebe hasn't been there in a few years for this event. And who knows if she would have ever been home for it happening before that.
Mm-hmm.
So I can see Phoebe not knowing about it. But somehow Prue's are in to this situation?
Yeah, I know. It was a little odd. But the doorbell rings. This is when we get a little bit of exposition. But Piper calls the guy Grandma's little friend. So this is the second time that she's ever been called Grandma. The first time was when Phoebe said it to Leo at the fireplace.
Yeah, oh, yes.
A couple episodes back now. This is
Antique.
Yes, antique. So... this is the first time that Piper calls her Grandma. Later in the episode, we get Prue calling her Grandma. So now each of them will have called her Grandma by the end of the episode.
And hopefully never again.
I know, right? It's a weird thing. Like, she's Grams. Like, we know she's Grams. It's just, yeah. So, doorbell rings. We get the little bit of exposition. Piper opens the door to this dude.
A man in the fakest looking mustache.
Oh, God, it was horrible.
With a pink vase... a cheap pink vase.
Yeah, cheap pink.
Full of flowers.
It's got roses and tulips and some yellow flowers and some greenery and a huge pink bow. And he is in black pants, a blue shirt, a blue pattern tie, and a tan sport coat. You know.
Uh-huh.
Because I had to. So she opens the door, tells him to come in, asks how he is, and we hear the clock start chiming in the background.
Yes. And he introduces himself and says... flowers for Penny Hallowell.
Yeah.
And then leans forward and holds out the flowers and promptly drops them. Piper freezes him, and she's like, well, at least now I'm saved cleanup.
Yeah, because apparently he's a klutz. He drops the flowers every year. The clock is still chiming in the background.
She picks up the flowers out of midair.
Well, we learn, because Prue asks, that she wanted to leave him a note to tell him that Grams was dead. And Prue comes back with, oh, you're going to break his heart.
Huh.
It was cute. Now, this actor, his name is Andrew Jackson, which I thought was very funny. Some people might know him from All My Children, because he's on All My Children, or the movie The Collector.
Oh, I actually went to school with an Andrew Jackson.
All right. I doubt it was this guy.
I think I graduated high school with him. Oh, I know it wasn't that guy. This kid was my age. Like...
yeah,
no, because I remember commenting on the fact, and I think we made some Trail of Tears jokes that were very inappropriate at the time.
Yeah.
Or anytime, really.
Yeah. But he's also done a bunch of voice acting stuff, and he's still acting. Mm-hmm. He's in a stupid frat movie, like that frat movie or something. It's like some stupid comedy thing.
Not another teen movie.
Yeah, well, this was like not another
Well, actually, no,
movie.
that was better because it had Chris Evans.
Yeah. Okay, so the frat movie thing... I watched the trailer and I want those 2 minutes of my life back.
Your fault.
Oh my God. I know. I should have just stopped it, but it was a fucking train wreck and I couldn't. Whatever. Anyway. So, Piper gets the vase that's frozen in the air.
And then stands back and puts on a placid smile.
Yeah.
And he
unfreezes
and immediately says, 5 chimes. And they're just like,
what?
The fuck?
Yeah. Apparently... He realizes that even though it's noon, he only heard 5 chimes, and that can only mean one thing. that Piper froze him, which means they have their powers.
Yes, this is the bit of plot that they had to condense. They had to have a reason for someone to be waiting for their powers that they didn't have before because I guess they were too busy to write it in.
Yeah.
And this is the... Yeah, they could have spent another 20 minutes on this entire just setup. And it would have been fine. But this was a bit like I've read fan fiction that starts off at this pace and it usually continues at that pace and it's horrible.
Yeah. But luckily this doesn't continue at that pace.
Luckily.
So we get a little bit of exposition time. We learn his name is Nicholas and that he knew their mother. And then he puts on a silver ring with a very large red stone and he becomes younger because apparently he had to appear to age over the years or they would have gotten suspicious. Because apparently 24 years earlier on this exact day, their mother made a pact with him to give up their future powers to save her own life.
So Phoebe is definitely 23 now.
And apparently their mom blessed his gaudy ring to give him immunity from their powers so he can kill them and take their powers to become invincible.
Yay! Villain exposition.
Yeah. So Piper tries to freeze him. It doesn't work.
Prue tries to move him. It doesn't work. Phoebe, of course, tries nothing because she's got passive power. And that also doesn't work.
Yep.
And he points his fist at them and starts talking about how their blood is boiling and their organs are going to shut down and die. And Phoebe kind of crosses in front of the other two to, like, go hang against the wall as, you know, she feels her insides boiling.
Yeah.
And
she does a lovely leg kick.
Yeah, she kicks his leg because apparently this trick of his requires extreme concentration. Yeah. And by kicking his leg, he falls to the floor, breaks his concentration, and then they all go running up the stairs
to the Book of Shadows. Now, I do enjoy it because Prue was like, our mother would never give up our powers. And he goes, she didn't have much of a choice. Like, the way he said it was just so, like...
Yeah, his facial expressions...
Oh my god, man.
...are kind of interesting.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it when we get there. But, like, there's the bit where he's like, there's another option, Patty.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
And it's just so fucking cheesy.
Oh.
Yeah, Blue agrees.
So they run up to the Book of Shadows, and Prue's wondering, why Mom would make a deal like that. Well, he already told you she didn't have much of a choice. I mean, weren't you paying attention? But, so, Phoebe finds a spell
that is called To Unbind a Bond.
And then, of course, we get Nicholas yelling, you can't run from me, from downstairs.
Well, clearly they did. I wish villains would stop saying that.
Yep.
Like, hide, I get, but run, unless they're paraplegic, like, come on. They can. They totally can.
Yeah. Anyway. So, they start saying the spell, and twinkling lights encircle them, and they disappear for a few seconds.
Just a second.
Oh,
Can we talk about how lazy it is to rhyme done with done?
Well, technically it was done with undone.
Done!
Just saying.
It's done with a prefix! It's so fucking lazy!
Yes. Do we want to read the spell? Because I have it.
No, we don't have to. I just wanted to complain about how it had lazy rhyming.
Okay.
And this is coming from someone who wrote spells as a 12-year-old.
Yes.
That were pretty damn lazy.
Yes.
I never rhymed done with undone. So at least I've got that going for me.
There you go. Anyway, so they say the spell, and then twinkling lights encircle them, and they disappear for a few seconds.
And reappear in the same spot.
Thinking it didn't work. And then a phone rings from downstairs.
And they all turn around and we get, hey, promo shot.
Yep. And they're all confused as to what phone is that? Whose phone is that?
They open at the door and they're like, what the hell's going on?
Mm-hmm.
And then they hear someone answering it saying, Halliwell residence. And
if you have a good ear, you know who it is.
Yes. Piper says, I'm not going down there. Phoebe says, I'm not going down there. And then Piper looks at Prue and goes, She's going down.
And
they both shove her out the door.
It was the funniest, adorable thing. It was such a cute sister moment. And so we cut to the stairs, and Prue sees Grams talking on a rotary phone that is sitting on a table next to a lovely lava lamp.
Mm-hmm.
She's wearing a black house dress with embroidered flower pattern at the bust and wrists. And it's got like a couple of lines of the same flower embroidery down the front as detail. And she's apparently on the phone with someone named Donna.
And is simply appalled that she thinks her girls...
Yes, that her little angels could do such a thing.
Two little angels run past, and she stops them to say, Prue, Piper, don't run in the house. Turns around, they immediately run off.
Yes! That's hilarious. I'll tell you about the little girls' outfits when we get closer to them.
Mm-hmm. Suffice it to say, they're cute.
They are adorable.
Cute AF.
Yes.
Cute A-fuck.
A-fuck. So the little girls run off into another room after they've been told not to run in the house. And
Prue is like, Grams?
Yeah, but that was before they got told not to run.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, but that's okay. She then runs back up to the attic, and Piper asks what she saw, and Phoebe's like, the warlock?
No. Us.
Yeah. And then we get the opening credits.
And immediately following the opening credits is a 70s era montage.
Absolutely.
Featuring, I'm sorry, what was the song?
It was...
No, it was not Boof.
It was Never Can Say Goodbye by Gloria Gaynor, the First Lady of Disco.
Mm-hmm.
Most people know her song I Will Survive better. Fun fact, the song Never Can Say Goodbye was originally written for the Supremes, but Motown decided it would be better for the Jackson 5. They released it as a single in 1971. It was one of their most successful songs.
Okay.
The Gloria Gaynor version came out in 1974 on her debut album of the same title.
So hey, at least it's consistent with the time they've traveled back to.
Exactly. The song on Netflix, which I looked up, sounds like it's just generic disco music with no lyrics.
They couldn't even get Gloria Gaynor?
No.
What the fuck?
Yeah. But Soundhound, hashtag not sponsored, comes up with Stop alle telefonate. Sure. By Ridillo. It's from 2008.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. I don't know. It was a thing. Spanish disco, apparently. But, so we learn via the opening credits that there's no Daryl in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine. I don't have a problem with it.
But can we just spend some time describing this montage?
Oh, yeah. Don't worry. I've got it all written down.
Perfect.
So we start out with a disco ball.
Of course.
Uh-huh. And then we get some dancing people.
Yes, and then
we get the mobile gas station with a sorry no gas sign, because apparently there was an energy crisis in the 1970s where oil went from $3 a barrel to $12 a barrel due to fighting in Syria, where Egypt was fighting Syria.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice to see nothing's changed. And by nice, I mean crap, of course.
Uh-huh. Would this have been after leaded gas? Like actually leaded, like with lead causing health problems and shit?
I honestly do not know.
Okay. That's an episode of Cosmos, people. Look it up.
Okay. Then we get a women's feet dancing.
Yeah.
Yeah, we cut down from a twirling skirt to the feet dancing, for some reason.
Yeah.
Then we get a theater marquee that just says Jaws, but there's a continuity error, because we found out this episode is supposed to take place in March of 75, and Jaws didn't come out until June of 75.
Oh, darn.
So, just saying. And then we get a little quick cut of a shark going through water, as another reference to Jaws, apparently.
Oh my god, yeah.
And then we get the Mod Squad intro on an old tube TV. The original TV show of the Mod Squad aired from 1968 to 1973. It had 5 seasons. And a tagline for the show was, 1 black, 1 white, 1 blonde. Which says a lot about it, I think. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Mm-hmm. It was then made into a movie with Claire Danes that did not do well.
Oh, I can bet.
Yeah, it was not. It was not good. And then we get the last of the 70s shots. We get a woman in short shorts roller skating.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And then we get a shaky shot of Coit Tower in the very, very background that pans over, and we see the Triangle Building and a bunch of stuff, whatever. Mm-hmm. And we end on a shot of the manor.
They managed to find a shot of the city involving the Triangle Building that looked like...
It might have been
It was all buildings from the 70s.
Yeah. Which, I'll be honest, it might have been a shot from, some 70s something, like some documentary something.
It looked
I don't
too
know,
clear.
But, yeah, well, they can clean up a lot of stuff.
In the 90s?
Who knows? Whatever. So, we end on a shot of the manor, taken from the other side of the street, and we see some lovely 1970s station wagons in front of the house.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And some people walking past, but we can't quite see their clothing.
Yeah.
They look like they're dressed fairly warmly.
Mm-hmm.
But that's about all we can see. So clearly, either those weren't really extras, Or they're just like, nah, doesn't matter what you wear. You're going to be covered up by cars anyway.
Exactly. So, we're back in the attic. Or, well, I guess we're still in the attic.
Yeah.
Because we ended before the credits in the attic. And Phoebe is looking through the Book of Shadows. And Piper's like, how do you know we went back in time?
Prue tells her to look around and see what she sees. And Piper's like, it's a messy attic, like always.
Okay. No, not just like always. We have a black light, insert shot of black light. A typewriter, insert shot of typewriter. 8-track tapes, insert shot of 2 8-track tapes. One of them was like...
Some Enchanted Evening.
Yeah, Some Enchanted Evening, which I thought was hilarious.
Yes, Prue holds those up for her. And
then
a pet rock.
A pet rock.
And she just holds up a rock.
Which is what a pet rock was.
I know, but like I would draw eyes on mine.
Well, yeah. Stickers of eyes or something.
Or googly eyes.
Yeah, but it was just, she holds up a rock. And I just thought it was the funniest thing.
But apparently, because they got rid of all of these things years ago, they know it can't possibly be modern day.
Yeah. Which is funny, though, because I could have sworn that the attic was locked throughout, their entire lives.
They wouldn't have locked it that early, though. Okay, so they couldn't remember having powers. They probably never remembered the attic being unlocked.
I don't know. My only thought process is that somehow at some point over the years while Grams was still alive, that's when they got rid of that stuff.
Possibly, yeah.
That's the only thing I can think of, but whatever. I do enjoy the next moment that was a very cute moment where Piper's like, you saw us as kids? And Phoebe's like, yeah. She goes, this can't be happening. I'm getting a migraine. And Phoebe's like, better not. I don't think Advil's been invented yet. Which is just funny to me.
Yeah.
Advil was invented in 1984. So there you go.
What about Tylenol?
Tylenol was marketed in 1953 as a prescription analgesic.
Yep, sounds about right.
And then it came out in 55 as the acetaminophen product that it is. But about Advil, it would have worked fine because ibuprofen, which is what Advil is, came out in 64.
Mm-hmm.
So it would have been around. And Phoebe says that apparently the spell that they cast hasn't been invented either because it's not in the Book of Shadows anywhere.
They're like, how is that possible? We just said it to get... Honey, it's time travel.
Yeah. Wherever here is, it's before the spell was written. So... yeah. Phoebe's like, let me be the first to say we're screwed, which I thought was kind of funny. And Prue's like, no, at least we're still alive. If we'd stayed in our own time, Nicholas would have killed us. And she goes, we barely got away as it was.
Will be. Beginning the running gag of Prue having trouble with tenses during this entire episode.
Yes, and it's very funny, the entire episode.
Mm-hmm.
So Piper wants to know what they're going to do, and Prue's like, well, Grams is right downstairs. Maybe we should just go and tell her who we are. And Phoebe, I love Phoebe, she goes, and say what? Hi, we're the ghosts of grandchildren future?
Yeah, that was a good one.
And she's like, Grams will have trouble with that. And Piper comes back with, yeah, plus she has that heart condition.
Which was... Okay, not only was that unnecessary for reasoning, it's far-fetched, even for a witch.
It was just funny.
And knowing Grimes as being an authoritarian sort of figure in their lives means she's probably not going to believe them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, that's enough reasoning. You don't need to add non-existent heart condition.
Well, she might have had a heart condition. We don't know. So, Prue realizes that they need another plan, but first they need to get out of the house. And then we cut to them sneaking downstairs. Grams is on the phone again. Not still, but again, because she's talking to Patty this time, which is their mom. And apparently Patty had a premonition, which is impossible because she doesn't have premonitions.
Piper walks over to the phone that is conveniently at the top of the stairs, lifts it up and puts her hand over the mouthpiece so whoever's on the line doesn't hear.
Yeah, but putting your hand over the mouthpiece isn't going to stop them from hearing you.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yes, we know this.
Yeah.
But it's a conceit.
Yeah, I'll allow it.
Mm-hmm.
So, apparently...
Patty felt
a
twinge in her stomach.
Yeah.
And she doesn't need to see a doctor.
Yeah.
But she had a premonition of 3 women, warlocks, and one of them was taking Prue.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Phoebe's like, is that really Mom's voice? Prue says, yeah, it is.
Actually, Piper does.
Oh, Piper does. Okay.
Yeah. Piper says yes. And then...
No, not and then boof. That's not how... Did you even watch the episode? Or were you sleeping? He's sleeping, and he's offended that I questioned him on his knowledge.
Uh-huh.
Well, you're a dick. You didn't watch the episode. Why are you even a part of this podcast if you can't watch the episodes, Blue? I'm putting a towel over you now.
balling up under his head. He's like, I don't want to be covered, Mom. I don't wanna. Anyway. So Grams is talking to Patty, asking if she's still nauseous, which I thought was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's like...
It's immediately obvious what the problem is.
Yeah, but apparently...
Patty doesn't have premonition. She felt a twinge in her stomach. She's nauseous. The audience, of course, has clued in 5 seconds ago.
Yeah.
But for some reason, the whole, oh, you're pregnant is a surprise in popular media.
Yep.
Whereas someone like me, who's never had sex, has still had pregnancy scares. It's ridiculous, I will grant you that.
Yeah.
But it's happened because anxiety.
Yep.
Yeah. It's proportionally hilarious, is, I believe, how I refer to it normally.
I like it. That works.
Yes.
Yeah. So Piper questions the fact that she had a premonition of 3 warlocks. She's like, she can't be talking about us, can she? You know. Grams hangs up the phone, and they're like, okay, let's get out of here. And they start walking down the stairs.
And they see little Prue and little Piper running through the wicker room.
Because Grams calls for them from a different room. And little Prue blinks and moves an adorable little kid-sized couch in shades of pink and purple across the doorway. And little Piper, in her adorable little lisp, goes, no fair using magic.
Well, it wasn't a lisp, it was just,
It was just...
You know one of those speech impediments where kids confuse their R's and their W's?
It was so cute.
And I believe now we can describe what the little ones are wearing.
Indeed.
Because it's super fucking cute.
It is.
Little Prue is in a red sweater and a matching red plaid skirt.
Mm-hmm.
Little red
shirt.
Stockings.
Yeah, and red stockings. The tights and the shirt match. And the shirt has 3 visible heart-shaped buttons.
Aww.
With long sleeves. Super cute. Yeah, the dark
and she's
red
probably
plaid skirt.
wearing little Mary Janes or something.
Yeah, I think they were little Mary Janes. And her hair is in a sensible bob with bangs.
Mm-hmm. Clearly styled to still evoke current Prue.
Yeah, a little bit. And
Which means, well, I mean, I know she didn't, but, like, it kind of gives the impression that she wore a bobbed haircut her entire fucking life.
Possibly.
Which I know gets proven untrue, or at least unprue, later on.
Yes. Young Piper is in a horizontal striped shirt, denim overalls, and a gray jacket.
Really
and her
baggy
hair,
denim overalls.
Yeah, and her hair is up in pigtails with plaid bows, and it's adorable.
And her run is just the cutest.
Like, if you saw
she gets blocked by the tiny sofa, turns around, scolds Prue, and then does this, like, hobbling, shoulders forward, like, amble back toward Prue. Like, the most adorable kind of troll. That's how
If you ever saw Mary-Kate or Ashley Olsen on Full House when they were young, like when they were toddler, running, that's what it looked like. It was that, like...
Oh, then I have to give this 7-year-old some mad props.
Yeah.
Because that's how old this actress is. She's 7.
Yeah.
She was born in 92.
Yeah, she's supposed to be playing a 2-year-old.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
I mean, really, she looks more like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But she's supposed to be playing a very young Piper.
The actress is named Megan Corletto. She's also been on Days of Our Lives. Mm-hmm. This episode of Charmed was her very first acting job, and she hasn't done anything in over a decade.
She had a good run.
Yeah, she'd stopped acting in 2005, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
The girl playing young Prue is named Emily Thompson. One word, Emily. She was chosen to play young Prue specifically because she has a mole under her right eye, just like Shannon does.
Aww.
Yeah. Now, what I want to know is why that was the deciding factor.
Well, because hair color can be changed.
Yeah, but someone you can add a fucking dot to her face.
True.
I mean, seriously.
It's not like she does a bad job. They were just looking...
she doesn't.
They probably just put out, like, a look-alike thing and found photos of Shannon from when she was little, and this girl happened to have that exact mole. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is adorable. I don't think they would have put the kids in makeup to begin with, because, let's face it, kids that small don't have acne problems, typically.
But just adding a tiny little dot to her face
wouldn't have been
that big of a deal. Just
well,
saying.
I know, but, like, because she also has some cute freckles. And that would have gotten covered up by makeup.
Yeah, she does have adorable freckles. But Emily has...
That's Emma Lee, not Emily.
Yeah, Emily. But it's one word.
Yes, Emma Lee.
Yeah. She's only been in 3 things. Her other credits were she played Casey in the movie Halloween H2O 20 Years Later.
Which sounds like it would be a mashup of Halloween and a mermaid flick. Yeah, you get me.
I get you. And she was in the pilot episode of a TV show called Tucker, where she played Screaming Girl. Tucker had a single season back in 2000, and it had Katie Sagal in it, and the lead character of Tucker was played by Eli Marienthal, I think is how you say that.
Okay.
He was best known as Stifler's brother in the American Pie movies.
Oh!
Yep.
Oh!
There you go. Back in 2000, it had a single season.
Oh my gosh.
So, Prue says hi to little Prue, who says hi back. And then they point out the little freckle on each other's faces.
And Prue says, you got one too.
Uh-huh. Prue gives her a big hug. And then Grams walks into the room and is like, how many times have I told you girls? And then she sees...
She's cleaning a plate with a towel.
Yeah.
Sees a woman with two other women holding Prue.
Uh-huh.
Prue immediately, of course, puts down little Prue and backs away.
Grams, we can explain.
And Graham says, drops the plate and the towel, and puts out one hand at a time, warlocks, be gone! And we get this great bit where all three of them are flailing their arms and appearing to fly backwards and, do these twists and turns
through the
back
house.
the hallway.
Yep.
And get thrown out of the door.
Out the front door.
And we have a little ADR line that was like, oh my god, or something. Ow kind of deal.
Yeah.
And then we cut to outside.
Yep. And they're running down their street. I love, because they didn't realize that they had powers at that age. But I just love how Prue's just like, Grams definitely had her power down. And Piper says, she's one scary witch.
Yeah.
Which was just great.
But they cross the street, and Piper and Prue start talking about how they don't remember having powers that young. Do you remember having powers that young?
No.
And Prue theorizes that, maybe they lost them before they were able to remember even having them.
Yeah.
Which is fair, because that young, there's a lot of shit you forget.
Yeah, that's a good thought.
And Phoebe picks up a paper that's lying on the ground, points to the date and says, hey, look, Mom was barely pregnant with me. And we get an insert shot of the paper, which says, March 24th, 1975.
Yeah. So, Phoebe was born on November 2nd, 1975. So, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. So, yeah, she was very barely pregnant.
Yeah.
Very, very.
Yeah, probably 2 or 3 months.
And they realized that this is the day that their mom made the pact with Nicholas, so that's probably why the spell sent them back, was to stop the pact.
Remind me when this episode aired?
April 7th, 1999.
Okay, so not too far off from being the 24th or whatever.
Of March, yeah. And so Piper realizes that the only way for them to get back to their own time is to stop their mom from making the pact with Nicholas. And Prue's like, okay, but, we have to use our powers on her so that we can,
convince
so we do
her
a better
that,
job of convincing her than we did with Grams.
But of course, since Mom has had the premonition of the 3 warlocks,
she's now on the lookout.
It doesn't make sense to go as the 3 of them. They should really just go with 2 and convince her that way.
Yep.
And Phoebe, to her credit, says, well, I don't have anything to show Mom, so you 2 be the ones.
Yeah. And they try to be sweet about it, but, it doesn't seem fair to you not being able to see Mom. And she's like, I got over that a long time ago. I don't need to see her now. It's okay. Let's just go. We have to do this. And then we cut to a very interesting shot we have never seen before. We've never had this shot before. Of buildings and the street.
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah, I took a screenshot of it. I'll put it up on the website. It's an angle that I've never seen before, but it shows off the architecture very interestingly.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. And then we see Phoebe come into frame in front of a theater marquee showing a Saturday matinee of Stepford Wives, which came out on February 12th, 1975. If you've only ever seen the 2004 version with Nicole Kidman, do yourself a favor and check out the original. If you've never seen the 2004 version with Nicole Kidman, do yourself a favor and check out the original. The Nicole Kidman version wasn't horrible, but it wasn't very good either.
I've not seen either. I remember seeing trailers for the
You
Nicole
should
Kidman.
totally watch it. It's a cool movie. It's fascinating.
If I can get access to it, I will.
I think I might own them.
Okay.
So I will look into that.
Oh, of course you own both of them.
I worked in a video store. Why wouldn't I? So, small bit of trivia. The original Stepford Wives was rated PG because at the time there were only 4 ratings. There was G, PG, R, and X. PG-13 only came into existence because in 1984, parents were outraged over Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom showing some dark shit like human sacrifice, and Gremlins showing some dark shit like blending one of the bad gremlins in a food processor typey thing. So movies that were too mature for a PG rating but not mature enough for an R rating found themselves in like a rating limbo. So Steven Spielberg...
Oh, yeah, I remember this.
Called Jack Valenti, who was the president of the Motion Picture Association in 1984, and suggested that there be a rating between the two. So, 3 months later, the Patrick Swayze movie Red Dawn became the first movie to be rated PG-13.
Lovely.
In 1984. And the X rating was changed to NC-17 in 1990.
I was wondering about that.
Yeah. And then we get Prue and Piper entering Buddy's.
A very bustling diner.
That apparently has not changed.
After a shot across the counter viewing several patrons, and the music playing is Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves.
Yep, by Cher. And I checked Netflix just because I wondered, and they just have some generic music playing. It's not jarring, but it isn't noticeable. Yeah.
I don't know how they would have lost all of the rights to all of the music like that.
They just did. I really think that they only had a certain amount of years for whatever music was playing. Anyway, so Prue thinks it's scary that Buddy's hasn't changed a bit. Wouldn't? Didn't? She's having
Piper
an
says,
adorable time.
Shut up, I know what you mean.
Yeah, she's having an adorable time trying to figure out her tenses.
Piper's too busy looking for Mom.
Mm-hmm. And then they see her walking out of the kitchen.
In slow-mo.
Yeah, she's in a yellow waitress dress with a brown apron.
Mm-hmm. Got like a brown collar, too.
Yeah.
It's basically yellow and brown. It's very 70s color palette.
Very 70s.
And also the skirt, instead of being like rounded, is like pointed. It's funny.
Oh, the apron you mean?
Yes, the apron. That's
funny. The apron, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we see Phoebe on the outside looking in, which is kind of adorable. And Piper says that she's beautiful, and Prue agrees, but Piper doesn't remember her ever working there.
Prue's like, well, yeah, with Dad gone, she had to help pay bills somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And she would always smell like burgers when she tucked her in at night.
Yep, and they both smile at the memory. Piper says that she's lucky because she has more memories of Mom.
Prue's like, well, poor Phoebe has none.
Mm-hmm. And then they realize that Mom is coming toward them. And Piper's like, well, what do we do if she recognizes us? And Prue says, you freeze the place. And when she sees that we don't freeze either, she'll believe us when we tell her who we are. And she's like...
Solid plan.
Yeah, and she's like, okay, how do I look?
She tucks her hair behind her shoulders. Because, like, you know, you're meeting your mom for the first time in a previous time.
Mm-hmm. And Prue's like, you know, she looks great. And Patty comes over and says, ready to order? We're holding her little pad, and they both just stare at her.
Kind of dumbstruck.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, oh, I can come back later. Turns to walk away, and they're like, no, come back. Like,
we're ready, aren't we, Prue? And Prue's just like, prunes. She wants to know if you have any prunes. Which I just thought was funny. It's like, dude, you realize that more than one person can be named Prue, right?
Yeah.
Like, seriously, woman. You're weirdo. Patty's like, I think so. I just started here. I'll go check. And Prue's like, no, she can order something else. It's fine. Which is just funny. And then Patty realizes they look a little familiar.
And she's like, have we met before?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, well, you look familiar too.
Yeah. And then Prue just kind of mouths over to Piper's like, now. And Piper tries to freeze.
Well, she drops the menu and tries to freeze. Just like thrusts her hands out. Nothing happens. She tries it again. She tries it in a different direction. Prue's like, what's wrong? And she's like, it's not working.
You try. And Prue tries to move her glass, and we get a lovely little insert shot of a glass with a lemon wedge in it, which was just the funniest thing. Or lemon slice. Lemon slice
like, just floating up at the top.
Yeah, it was just funny.
And Patty is, of course, like, a little weirded out by this.
Yeah. And somebody in the background tells Patty she has a phone call, and she's like, okay, I'll be right back. And Piper yells toward her, wait, we know you're pregnant. And then she just kind of stops. And, like, they don't do it, but you could kind of be like, record scratch should be in that spot. Like, what?
She comes back, and the girls make up an excuse about how they're her cousins from out of town.
Yeah.
And Patty's just like, no, I'm not pregnant. I can't get pregnant.
It's medically impossible.
And then walks off.
Yeah.
And of course, for some reason, Piper states her reasoning as being, I thought close family would know she was pregnant.
Yeah. Like, bitch, did you not hear her on the phone? Because I know you did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So at least there's a reason for her to believe pregnancy was impossible.
Yes. Well,
to not know that she was.
Yeah.
Like, granted, it is still obvious.
Yeah.
But, like, you get yourself into a mindset.
Mm-hmm. I have watched enough I didn't know I was pregnant show. That
you know what I love?
You know what I love? Clue.
There was one woman who was on both I didn't know I was pregnant and 70 and pregnant.
Oh, Jesus.
Because the reasoning is great. She was on 70 and pregnant first, I think. Or possibly not. I don't know. The two might have coincided really closely. But she was on 70 and pregnant because she was older and really wanted a baby. And I think she's from Australia or England or something.
Okay.
She was over 50, so she'd already gone through menopause and there was trouble. And, like, it's kind of difficult for artificial insemination to happen, like, past postmenopausal.
Mm-hmm.
So she had gone to the doctor to, like, do all that, and they did a round, and they said it failed, and then she went to her, like, usual appointment, and the guy, like, palpates around her uterus, and immediately writes something down and says, okay, we're gonna go, like, take a blood test now, and he leaves the room. She'd noticed his tone was a little, like, alarming to her,
mm-hmm.
and so she looks down at the chart, and it says, possible ovarian cyst. And at her age, that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
And so she calls her husband and starts freaking out on the phone to him. And then has to, like, go off the phone to, like, hear the doctor. The doctor comes in and he's like, oh, don't worry, it's not a cyst. You're just pregnant. So apparently the failure was not a failure.
Interesting.
And that's how this woman was on both of those shows.
Fascinating.
It really is.
That is fascinating.
But yeah, the amount of people who just don't realize.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, it's possible to, like, have periods while you're pregnant. Here we are again, on periods. What the fuck?
I know.
We're gonna talk about boobs in this episode?
Possibly. You just did.
Well, I mean, not self-referentially.
Yeah.
Well, is it gonna come up?
I don't know. We'll find out.
Oh, well.
We'll find out. Anyway. So, Prue says, that not only does Patty not realize that she's pregnant, she doesn't even think she can get pregnant. And Piper realizes that they have bigger problems because without having powers, they have no way to stop Nicholas. And Prue's like, well, why don't we have powers? Because little Prue and Piper have powers.
They're like, well, maybe their powers can only exist in one version of them at a time.
Yep, one set in time at the same time. And Prue says, thank you, Mr. Spock, which I thought was very funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, because she's being all logical and shit.
Yeah.
And then we cut to the back of the restaurant.
Where Patty is taking a call again from her mother and
mm-hmm.
saying, oh, I was working, I couldn't take your call. We get another weird shot of Penny from, like, an upward angle, looking
just
down on her.
Grams.
Yeah.
I don't think we've called her Penny at all in anything.
Why not?
Just saying. She's Grams.
Mm-hmm. But whatever. And she's like, hey, yeah, you know that vision of warlocks you had? Did you see their faces? No, because I fucking did. They were here. And one of them tried to take Prue.
Yeah.
And Patty is like, I'll be right home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, sure. And hangs up and goes out the back door.
Yeah.
Because she can still see Piper and Prue chatting over at the booth.
Exactly. But she grabs a sweater and her purse, and the sweater is a white cable knit.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Thought that was funny.
Yes.
And outside, she bumps into Phoebe, literally.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if that was an accidental or a forced interaction by Phoebe, but they both bend down to pick up her purse and all of her stuff because her purse fell down. And that's when Phoebe realizes that this is her mother.
And she is also a little dumbstruck at the time.
Yep.
And the awkward silence causes Patty to go, oh, I'm so clumsy.
Yeah, I'm such a klutz sometimes.
And Phoebe's like, me too.
Yeah, it was adorable. And then she sees that she had crackers in her purse.
So she says, crackers?
And Patty says that, she has an upset stomach. And then Phoebe sees the cigarette pack.
And she's like, you shouldn't smoke these anymore.
It's bad for your upset stomach.
And Patty's like, oh, you're so sweet. Mm-hmm. Thank you. And they stand up to a cop saying, is everything all right here, ma'am? And turn around. We see it's Nicholas.
It is indeed.
And, of course, Phoebe is like, oh my god, freaking out. Patty doesn't notice this at all, and she's just like, oh no, officer, everything's fine, thank you.
Yep.
And leaves to go get in her car.
Right. And Phoebe, trying to stall Nicholas, asks him, how do you get to Berkeley?
And he just kind of shoves her aside.
Fucking funny.
And pulls out his car keys, and he's, like, holding the key to get into his car.
Mm-hmm.
She goes up behind him and
kicks
the keys out of his hand.
Yeah, no, but she kicks him, and then picks up the keys and throws them across the road.
Yep.
And then runs into Buddy's. And Prue's like, what are you doing here? And she's like, Nicholas is here. And they're just like, what? Where? Run! And they run toward the other side of the restaurant as Nicholas walks in looking for them. And he, like, pushes aside one of the waitresses. And she just gives him a look like, the fuck, copper? And just goes about her day. Like, this happens to her every day.
Yep.
It was very funny. And then we get a commercial break. We come back from the commercial break and we get a lovely view of some very pretty Victorian houses that are on the street.
And a palm tree. Actually, several palm trees.
Well, but they're in California.
I know.
So that makes sense. They're walking down the street, and as they walk, we hear very loud Foley of them walking.
Yes.
Like the Foley artist was having a good old time.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah. Clack, 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 clack of them walking. It was just...
yeah.
Crazy pants. Piper wondered if Nicholas was wearing his ring, but Phoebe says, I don't think so. And Piper's like, well, it was a good thing you were there, Phoebes, because, that's probably when he was going to make his move on Mom. And Phoebe's like, I don't think so, because otherwise we'd be back in our own time by now. It's like, no,
well,
exactly.
So she barely did anything. She threw his keys away and kind of stalled him.
Yeah, but I don't know.
She didn't kill him, so obviously he's still capable of doing the shit he's done. Done, will do, has done, was going to do.
Yep. So Phoebe realizes that the first time seeing Mom and talking to her, that she didn't expect to feel so ... And Prue's like, what, good? And she's like, no, overwhelmed. I was like, I'm sorry, why wouldn't you think that you would feel overwhelmed? This is the first time you're seeing your mother in forever.
In 20 years.
Yeah, why would you not think you'd be overwhelmed by that? But, whatever. But apparently, Mom's car is at the house, so they know where she is.
And now the trick is getting into the house. Because they realize, while they personally don't have their powers, little Prue and little Piper do.
Yep.
And if they need powers, they've got them.
Yep, absolutely. But the way that Phoebe says that line, she goes, we need our powers, and they have them.
It's creepy.
Yeah, it's a little creepy.
Because also immediately you're like, hang on, you're talking about abducting small children. This is not okay.
Yeah, it was a little weird.
We get it that it's you, and so technically you're
kidnapping
giving
yourself.
consent. What? I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a weird situation, but it's still abducting children.
Yeah, a little bit. And while that's harder to do now, it wasn't exactly a good thing back then.
No,
it
was not.
So, we cut to them coming in through the back door, through the laundry room, into the kitchen. Bless you. And we see a lovely view in the kitchen. We get the layout of the kitchen, which is slightly different than it is now.
Yes, there's some red bar stools. There look to be some corn cob salt and pepper shakers, I think. There's a Formica table.
Yeah, there's a yellow table by the door.
Some kind of different brand of laundry detergent hanging out on the window above the washing machine. Mm-hmm. And the fridge is different.
Yep, the
also
fridge
in a different
is yellow.
place.
And it's in the same place. It's just facing a different direction.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Which was weird.
And there's no island.
Yeah. The big wooden counter and the second stove are not there.
Yes.
So we don't know when they were put into the house, but they weren't there in 75.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. And of course, they're like, oh shit, what if we get caught? Oh, don't worry, we won't, says Phoebe, and goes over to a tiny little vent in the wall of the kitchen.
Yep, the little
and pulls a stopper. And we can hear super clearly the conversation going on between Patty and Grams upstairs.
Yep. And Prue wonders how she knew how to do that.
But apparently, Phoebe has been eavesdropping on everyone for years, especially Prue when she took Andy up to her room.
Uh-huh.
Which means Phoebe's definitely heard them having sex. Yeah. Well, more than likely.
Yeah.
Some heavy petting.
Yeah, at least. So, Prue tells Phoebe to stay at the heating duct.
And they're going to go grab the little girls.
Mm-hmm. And then we cut to the other room, where little Prue and little Piper are fighting over a doll.
Piper is saying, no, it's my turn. But Prue's like, oh no, you stole it. And of course, adult Prue and Piper have to chime in, agreeing with their younger selves.
Mm-hmm. And then little Prue uses her powers to take the doll off of little Piper.
And adult Piper's like, hey,
it's not fair. And she says it loud enough for them to hear. And little Prue's like, you came back.
Clearly excited to see them.
Uh-huh. And Big Prue is like, yes, we did. We're going to keep this a secret, right? And little Prue thinks about it for a second. She goes, okay. Like, oh man, these children, we're just waiting to be abducted.
Yeah, they're so cute.
Uh-huh. And then little Prue says to Prue that she's pretty, and Prue says, so are you. And Piper's like, oh, give me a break. Which I just thought were very, very funny lines.
Yeah.
It was just a cute back and forth. And little Piper says that apparently Graham said that they were bad people. And
Piper's like, no, we're not bad people. We're good people. We're just like you.
Yeah. And Prue says, yeah, we're family. Which was cute. And then we cut to Phoebe, who's listening in to Patty and Graham's at the vent. And Patty says that Victor sent her a note asking him to stop by his hotel after her shift. Oh, no, we're not listening to them. We're actually cutting to them.
We start by hearing Phoebe listening to them, and we cut upstairs.
Right.
Where Patty is taking a look at a lot of dresses. Yeah. A lot of very 70s floral patterns.
Absolutely.
Including, and in additional to that, one ribbed striped turtleneck dress.
Yeah.
It was in like pink and gray or something.
Yeah.
Or like purple and pink and gray.
Yeah.
It was funky.
I don't think I took a picture of those.
Ugh, no. For shame.
I did not. Though, I might go back and take pictures.
Okay.
So, who knows. If you go to the website, you'll see all the pictures I did wind up taking.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
But at any rate, Grams is telling Patty that of course Victor's not coming back. He left you, he left the girls, and it was doomed from the start. You never even took his last name.
And Patty's like, you wouldn't let me. And goes, well, that's beside the point. Which was just very funny.
Yeah.
But even better, Grams, was like, well, why don't you just wear your uniform? And she goes, well, I don't want him to know I'm a waitress. Which was funny. And then Grams is like, let him go. If husbands were supposed to stay married, God would have made them live longer.
So hang on. He sent her a note saying to stop by after her shift. He already knows she's a waitress. What the fuck, Patty?
Yeah. There's not a whole lot of logic there.
Really not.
Mm-hmm.
No, for you either, Blue. There's not really any logic for you. Did I get a head tilt? Is there any logic? Logic? What about logic? Is there any logic for you?
So, where were we?
Good question.
Oh yeah, Graham saying if husbands were supposed to stay married, God would have made them live longer.
Yes.
And Patty's like, Mother! Which I just thought was hilarious. And then we cut to Phoebe at the little heating duct, and she just laughed. She's like, Grams.
Yeah.
It was a funny little moment. Then we cut back to Piper and Prue, both sets. And little Prue is saying that they're not supposed to go places with strangers. And Big Prue is saying that they're not strangers. That you're safe with us, and we know that
deep
in
down
your heart you can trust us. And little Piper says, if you're really family, prove it. And Piper says, prove it? How the hell are we supposed to do that?
And Prue turns to her to, scold her for using hell. She's like, Piper!
And little Piper's like, your name is Piper too? Yeah, it was so cute.
Oh my god, I love this kid.
So cute. And Piper says, yeah, and not only do we have the same name, she walks over to the drawer, does the hit on the top and the kick on the side, and the drawer opens, and she goes, but we have the same secrets.
And then she pulls this face, whoa, kind of face. Yeah. It was adorable.
It was adorable, but now here's the thing.
She couldn't get it open before.
Yeah, that's not her secret, that was Phoebe's secret, so...
Well, it was just funny that it was supposed to be Piper's secret and she can't get the fucking drawer open.
Yeah.
And the secret was that Phoebe knew about it?
I guess, but Phoebe's the one that could get into it and Piper couldn't, so I don't understand.
I guess because I don't know, the conceit is supposed to be that Piper's in a hurry and she can't really remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
It would have been funnier if she'd be like, hey, where's a pen? And Phoebe just walks over the drawer and does that. She'd be like, that's my candy drawer. You've known how to open that how long now?
Yeah, maybe. But,
Yeah.
We can't rewrite the scripts.
No. Wish we could.
I wish we could. At least for a few of them.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 6.
I don't know if we need to rewrite the script so much as burn it.
Yes. Anyway, so Prue tells the kids to follow her, and then little Andy runs in.
Wearing a sheriff's uniform.
Yeah, just as a little cowboy.
Costume.
Yep. It's a blue plaid shirt, jeans, leather chaps and a leather vest and a red cowboy hat hanging on his back, tied by a string around his neck. And he has 2 toy pistols. Super, super cute.
Mm-hmm.
He's played by Jake Saxon, who was in a bunch of single episodes of TV shows.
Including one very seminal for me Disney Channel movie called Don't Look Under the Bed.
Okay. He acted from 1996 to 1999, and then he stopped acting.
Mm-hmm.
And this shows that while T.W. King was in the credits...
He is not actually in the episode.
He's not actually in the episode. But even though he doesn't appear as an adult, he appears as a child in character. That's why T.W. King gets to be in the credits.
That's funny.
Because his character shows up. And I thought that was very, very funny.
And he, of course, waltzes in from the dining room, and he's like, freeze! And so Piper, little Piper, is like, okay, I'm gonna fucking do it. And while Big Piper and Big Prue are in the process of turning around to tell her not to, she freezes, and everyone but the 2 little ones freezes.
Yep.
Including adult Prue and Piper.
Yep.
Now, little Prue scolds her. She's like, I'm gonna tell Mom.
You're not supposed to freeze people.
But he said to do it.
Yep.
Like, that's a loophole I can believe from a 2-year-old.
Yeah, absolutely. That is absolute 2-year-old logic.
Yeah.
It's like, he told me to.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then Big Phoebe, Phoebe comes in saying, that Mom's coming down.
Wait, if she's Big Phoebe, we don't need to call her Big Phoebe. We could just call the little one Fetus Bee.
Oh, Jesus.
Or Phoebetus.
Oh.
I like Phoebetus.
Oh, God, I walked right into that one. I apologize.
You're welcome.
I apologize.
You're welcome, dear listener.
All right. Phoebe comes in because Mom's coming downstairs, and she notices that
Prue and Piper are frozen, and motions toward little Piper, who understands that she's supposed to unfreeze them, so she does. And little Andy's just like, where'd you come from? And of course, Piper and Prue are like, yeah, that's a good question. She's like, no time.
Yep.
Gotta go.
Right. But just before that, we get Patty and Grams coming down the stairs. And Grams is like, fine, if you have to go, I can't stop you. But I can't promise that I won't teach the girls a new spell while you're gone.
And Patty stops on the stairs, holding the dress, over her shoulder, and she's like, why can't you just bake cookies with them like all the other grandmas?
Yeah.
And Patty's wonderful line.
No, Penny.
Penny.
This is why we just call her Grams.
Grams' wonderful retort to that is, darling, the recipes I teach them don't come from Betty Crocker.
Yes.
Said in pretty much that exact tone.
Yeah, just about. And then she leaves, and she's got her uniform on, and she's holding a garment bag with the dress in it.
That says bye to the girls, I love you.
Mm-hmm, bye, I love you. And that's when everyone unfreezes, and we get the back and forth of where'd you come from. Phoebe says, Mom just left, and Grams is. And
then
Grams yells, Prudence, Piper, and Phoebe yells, coming! Which I thought was hilarious. It was great. So they're rushing the kids toward the door, and little Andy comes up and is like, I want to go too.
Well, continuity error. He had been standing right at the threshold between the dining room and the sunroom.
Mm-hmm.
Then, when they're ushering the girls past through the dining room, we turn back to see him attempting to follow, but now he's in the middle of the wicker room? He's in the middle of it. He's past that desk.
Yeah.
So, small continuity error. But he's like, no, I want to follow.
Yeah.
And Piper, who's holding little Piper in kind of like a barrel hold, says, it's okay, we got this, and ushers the others through. Yeah. And I think Phoebe's the one who says, oh my god, little Andy is so cute.
Yes, it was adorable.
And so Piper sets little Piper down, and she's like, okay, ready? Freeze him.
And then close the door.
Well, there wasn't enough time to close the door, so that's another continuity error.
Well, there kind of was. But
there wasn't. She was standing right next to her when she said, freeze him, and she goes to run into the kitchen to shut the door.
Yeah.
But, there wasn't enough time. It's a good 2-3 feet.
Yeah, well, it happens.
But she freezes, little Piper freezes Andy, and then Piper opens the door, and she's like, okay, come here.
And I love Prue goes, okay, maybe that's why Andy is so suspicious of us?
Yeah.
Which was great.
Yeah. Also a fair cop.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yes, absolutely. And Piper realizes that Grams keeps the keys in the same spot, which is good.
And so while she's carrying little Piper out the door, she grabs the keys. And little Piper reaches for them, too.
Yeah, it's kind of adorable. And then Grams enters the room where Andy is and sees him frozen.
With a laundry basket.
Yep. Sees him frozen and is like, oh, did Piper freeze you again?
Walks over to them.
And she goes, you won't remember a thing, and then unfreezes him.
Well, she kind of, like, waves her hand over him to be like, oh, you won't remember a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when she, like, finishes that, then he unfreezes. And he just looks up at her, and she's like, where are the girls?
And he says, I think the strange ladies took them. And then she freaks out.
We hear a car start,
Mm-hmm.
and then she kind of runs to the door to see...
Yeah, she runs out just in time to see them leaving in the car. So what I want to know is, did Patty walk to wherever she was going? Like she drove?
No, that was Grams' car.
No, because remember right before, at the beginning of this scene, when they were coming up the street, they're like, well, Mom's car is here, so we know she's here.
Don't know. Yeah.
But now they're in Mom's car. Like, I don't... Yeah.
Mom's is?
Yeah. I said it. I meant it. Anyway. So in the next scene... We get there with a bridge shot through some trees overlooking a bench.
Mm-hmm.
It was very pretty.
Quite.
Uh-huh. And in a park, Prue is holding a big red ball, and Phoebe is sitting on a bench.
It's not that big a red ball.
Well,
it's a
decent-sized ball.
It's a bouncy ball.
Yeah, it's a decent-sized ball. And Prue's like, okay, what do we do if we see a bad guy? And little Prue says that little Piper's going to cry.
Little Piper says, I'm not. I'm gonna freeze him. And then little Prue goes, and she puts her hand under her chin and moves it. She's gonna move him.
Yeah, it was super duper cute. And Big Prue is like, then we'll take care of him, and we'll all, and little Prue goes, run like the wind.
While bouncing.
Yeah, it was adorable. And she's like, okay, exactly, let's give it a try. And she throws the ball up in the air. Little Piper freezes it. Little Prue moves it. And she's like, can we do it again? And Big Prue's like, yeah, practice makes perfect. And Little Piper magics the ball back to her. And she goes, okay, go try it. And she throws the ball off screen and goes to sit down with Phoebe on the bench. Now, I want to know why they're okay with all of this happening out in the open. They're using their magic in front of people.
Yeah, I know.
They're not worrying about Grams calling the police to report the kidnappings or at least report the stolen car.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Anyway, so Phoebe says that the girls have major juice, that they can control, they have aim, and Prue's like, well, they've had their powers a lot longer than we have.
Will?
I just think it's hilariously funny this entire episode. She's working with the tenses, and it's fucking funny. And Phoebe wonders, what Prue thinks happened to their powers when they were kids. And Prue says, that they lost a lot growing up, and somehow they must have lost them too. Which I think is very funny, because that means they're not really thinking this through.
Nope.
But, whatever.
Also, they may not have a whole lot of context for losing powers. They just have context for gaining them, and that was an event. And if they didn't have a memory, then it's a bit of a mystery for them, at least, how it happened. I guess so,
yeah. Then Piper comes up to them, saying that she finally found a payphone.
Called, and they said that Mom was on shift until 5, and Nicholas didn't get off of his beat until 6.
Mm-hmm. And so Prue thinks that's good, that they at least know where he is, and that the little girls are ready. And Phoebe's like, well, I'm not. Because Mom died before I could grab enough on her to keep her alive in my head, and now she's alive and pregnant with me, and if we stop Nicholas, we have to go back to our own time, and there's no Mom there, which was just so sad.
So sad.
So sad,
so sad.
And Piper's like, we don't have much of a choice.
And then the cops pull up.
Yep. 2 cop cars pull up, 4 officers get out, immediately look at them and say, ladies, is this your car? It's like, see?
Yeah.
I told you.
Grams called the popo.
Uh-huh.
And the little girls come running over.
Yep.
And then we cut.
Yep. We get an exterior shot of a building with many flags, which I think we've seen before.
Did we see it the last time we saw Victor? Episode 3?
Maybe.
Was that where he was staying?
Maybe. That could possibly be.
Mm-hmm. I think it probably is.
That could possibly be.
But a hotel. Which I think it would be funny that they would establish Victor going to that place.
Mm-hmm.
And then, she's meeting Victor at that place.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, then we go inside and we see Patty walking down a hallway wearing a lovely deep V.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful long sleeve low cut dress. The bust and arms are in a floral pattern.
On black.
And the skirt is short and black. And she has black thigh-high boots to complete the look.
Mm-hmm.
Very pretty. She knocks on the door, and we hear what sounds like Victor saying, "Come in." And she walks in, and Nicholas grabs her.
Shoves her up against a wall and handcuffs her.
Mm-hmm.
Telling her, "Yo, can't have you using your powers, Patty.
Yep.
That would ruin everything."
Uh-huh. And my favorite is she just looks and goes, "You," which is just like...
Well, she saw him earlier that day.
I know, but it's just the way she said it was hilarious.
True.
And he tells her to call him Nicholas, and she asks where Victor is, and he
like,
says...
"Not here. Bait for the hook, baby."
Yep. And then she hits him in the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
So, right on Patty.
Yep.
Trying, But he holds out his fist.
Yeah.
And tells her that her blood is boiling and death will come. She asks what he wants, and he replies, "What does any warlock want? I want your power." And then he goes on to say that he wanted her power, at least at first, and then he realized that she was going to be the mother of the charmed ones.
And she, of course, is very confused, because she's like, "No, I only have 2 children."
Mm-hmm. And he does this hand motion that goes from her face, down her chest, and to her stomach, and is like, "Oh, but there'll be a 3rd child." And it's just like, oh my god, it's so fucking creepy.
Yeah. And he's like, "Where did that premonition come, Patty? If not from the unborn child inside you."
Yeah. And then he says that he tapped her phone, and he heard her talking to the old witch about it. Which, again, like, just the way he said it was like, "Are you talking about it?" Like, I know he's
I didn't hear that emphasis.
Yeah, it was a little bit pointed of the word "it," and it was just weird. It's like, he's talking about the premonition.
Yeah.
But it was just a little odd.
Mm-hmm.
She reiterates that she saw 3 warlocks, that she saw women, and he goes, "Well, I saw them too at the diner. Rivals, perhaps? But I got to you first." And she seems to, like, faint and then slide down the wall. It's very weird. He leaves her there, walks around, like, a wall in the room, and goes over to a drawer.
Well, he was in the living area of this hotel room. He walked into the bedroom area.
Okay.
And opens a dresser drawer.
Mm-hmm.
Pulls out some kind of little puzzly box.
Yeah, it was a really pretty box.
Mm-hmm. And slides it on open. Mm-hmm. Pulls out the ugly-ass ring we saw at the beginning.
Gaudy ring. Mm-hmm. And then he puts the box back in the drawer.
Body ring.
Mm. He puts the box back in the drawer and puts on the ring. She's begging him not to hurt them. And he says, "There is another option,
and
Patty."
He holds his hand with the ring up next to his face. Mm-hmm. Like, "Hey, look at my gorgeous-ass jewelry, bitch."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Patty."
Yeah, it was creepy.
And, oh god, the facial expression. When you go back and take more photos, can you get that face?
I will try.
I want to see that face, because it's fucking ridiculous.
Send me a text message to remind me to take pictures. So then we jump over to the girls in a jail cell.
Mm.
And there are 2 other women in the cell next to them.
And they're wearing outfits that mean they're supposed to be read as, escorts or...
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah. And Piper says that she can't believe they got arrested for kidnapping themselves.
Would you rather not have been arrested for kidnapping? Like, come on. It might be inconvenient, but at least the cops haven't done the wrong thing.
True.
Like, you did kidnap.
True.
Technically it was yourselves, but who the fuck's gonna believe that?
Yep. Prue jokes that it should make for a pretty interesting defense, which was kind of funny. Piper questions on that. She goes, do you think this is funny? We're not just stuck in jail, we're stuck in the past. And Prue comes back with one of the best lines is, "Yes, I know, Piper, I've been following." Which is great. And then, even better, is Phoebe goes, "Bright side?" And Piper goes, "I dare you." Which was just great. This entire scene was just a cute sister moment.
Yeah.
Stuck in jail. It was very funny. But Phoebe says, that maybe they can get to know Mom better, or in her case, finally get to know Mom. Because if they're really stuck there, they might as well take advantage of it, and maybe they can keep her from dying this time. And then we hear an officer tell somebody that they've got 5 minutes, And Patty comes up to them, and her first question is, how did you know I was pregnant? And her second question is, who are you people? And Phoebe smiles and goes, your daughters. And then they all just kind of smile and stare awkwardly, and we go to a commercial break.
Oh, climactic moments.
Mm-hmm. And then we cut to the exterior of the police station, which seems to be the parking lot side.
Mm-hmm.
And this entire scene seems ADR'd, probably because it's outside. And Patty says that she bailed them out, but they'd better not be warlocks. And Prue's like, well, we wouldn't have needed you to bail us out if we were. Which is, very true.
Yes, it is.
Yep. Patty says that she's seen magic, but this is a miracle. And then Piper asks, where the little ones are, and Patty says that they're home with Grams. That's, she called there, and that's how she found out they were arrested. But that she didn't tell Grams about them because she didn't know what to say. Like, she didn't know who they were. And then she stops herself and is like, you're all so beautiful. Mm-hmm. More than I ever would have imagined. And then she turns to Phoebe and holds her chin in a loving way, and Phoebe grabs her hand. And she realizes for a moment, she looks down at her own stomach and she goes, talk about miracles. And she says that she must have named Phoebe after her favorite aunt. And she goes, but if you don't like the name, I can always change it.
She's like, don't you dare.
And she goes, no, I love it. Which is adorable. And then we cut to Prue crying, which is just so sweet. It was just this lovely little scene was lovely. It was very nice. But Prue tells Patty that they came back in time to help stop her from making a pact with a warlock named Nicholas. And Patty's like, well, you're too late.
Oopsie doopsie.
Yep. Oopsie daisy. And, that she thought she was going to see Victor, your father. I love how she had to put that in there, like they don't know who their father is. But that it turned out to be a trap, and Nicholas tried to kill her and Phoebe too, and that she had to give him immunity to their powers in exchange for their lives, and says that she'd rather love them as mortal daughters than to have to mourn them as dead witches. Mm-hmm. Which is, a good thing.
Oh, yeah.
And Piper says that he's going to kill us anyway to get our powers, and Patty says, no, not until Phoebe's born.
And your powers are complete.
Yeah, that she bought us some time in hopes that Grams could help, and then they all hug. And it was super cute. And she called them the Charmed Ones.
Yeah.
Which...
This is an example of lore we haven't talked about a whole lot. It was mentioned in the pilot.
Yeah, and...
Like that they were successful generations until finally culminating in the Charmed Ones. Yeah. 3 sisters.
Yes.
We're known as the Charmed Ones.
Yeah. Yes. And then, the next scene, we get a quick exterior shot of the manor at night. And in the living room, Prue, Piper, and Phoebe are sitting on an uncomfortable-looking sofa. Very Victorian-esque.
Mm-hmm. And they are being grilled by Grams and Mom.
Mm-hmm. And Patty is standing behind them, and Grams is on a floral-patterned wingback chair across from them.
Surveying her kingdom.
Mm-hmm. And she asks, where was I born? Because she's still not convinced they're not warlocks.
And Patty's like, Mom!
Yeah, she's like, we have to be looking for a spell. We have this thing. And Prue, this is where we learn from Prue that Grams was born in Boston, breach in a hotel room, which was kind of funny.
Mm-hmm. Which, given that she's probably about early 50s in this, she was born in the 20s.
Yeah, I don't know. And so Patty sits down on an identical flower-patterned wingback chair because she's like, okay, fine, I can't get out of this, so why not? Grams asks, what's my husband's name? And Prue goes, which husband? Which makes Piper and Phoebe laugh. Grams then asks, who's Melinda Warren? And Phoebe replies that she's the beginning of their family line, and she gave them their powers and their destiny. So then the next question is, what's the secret ingredient in my blueberry cobbler?
Which gives Piper the chance to respond, honey and a splash of rum. And then that immediately spurs Grams on to go, what's IBM selling at in your time?
And Patty's just like, Mom, this is not the time for personal gain.
He's like, well, if they could just nod
their heads. And I love how Patty mouths zip it.
Yeah.
Which is just very funny. But, so I had to look up IBM because I wanted to know when IBM started.
Yeah.
IBM was founded in 1911.
Yep.
I didn't know that. That was fascinating.
International Business Machine? Is that what it stands for?
Yeah, International Business Machines.
Ha, I love it when I'm right.
Mm-hmm. It was nicknamed Big Blue.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Which is funny because I think in the 80s their entire ad campaign was shades of brown.
I don't know.
I remember something about this from high school, and I don't remember why. But yeah, Big Blue.
I'm looking for shades of brown. I'm not seeing shades of brown.
It's not important. I could be misremembering.
No.
Or dismembering.
Please don't. But the most fascinating bit for me, when I looked it up...
And what was that?
The roots of IBM actually date back to the 1880s.
Mm-hmm.
Decades before the development of electronic computers. So we have on their wiki page the gross income in millions. From 1890 to 1810, we get nothing. There's no nothing. But in 1915, they're already up to 4 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
And we also get how many employees are there. So with $4 million in gross income, they have 1,672 employees. 5 years later, in 1920, they're up to 14 million, and they're at 2,731 employees. 5 years after that, they've lost 1 million. They're down to 13. But they have 3,698 employees. So they're gaining more employees, but they've gone down in gross income.
Mm-hmm.
By 45, they're at 138 million. 1960, they're at 1,810 million. So by 1960, they're already at $1 billion.
Nice.
And they have just over 100,000 employees. By 65, they're at nearly 4 billion. Wow. By 1970, they're at $7.5 billion. 75, they were at $14 billion. $14,430 million.
Okay, and then can you skip to about 2000?
2000 brings them up to $85 billion.
Oh, damn.
And in 2010, they were up to $99 billion.
Holy crap. How many employees do they have now? Or does it say? In 2010, at least.
In 2010, they were still under 500,000. 426,751. But that is the last info we get. We haven't gotten any info on their Wikipedia page from 2015.
Okay.
But the fact that they were at 99 billion.
Graham should have invested, clearly.
Right? Yeah.
Although not like she would have lived to see that.
No, but the girls would have.
True. And maybe they would have been able to afford the house.
Maybe. Because in 95, they were at just under 72 billion. So...
Yeah, and I don't see how that could be proven to be insider trading if she just gets a couple of shares.
Yeah.
Because the payoff's not going to come for decades.
Exactly.
Not the true payoff, anyway.
Yeah. It's fascinating. They fluctuated, like, in 85, they had, like, a little over 400,000 employees. By 95, they had, like, half that.
Mm.
And now they're back up to even more than that. So, like, they fluctuated in employees for a while there.
Is it the .com bust?
I don't know. Possibly. I know in 93, oh, here we go. In 93, they misread two significant trends in the computer industry, which was personal computers and client-server computing. And as a result, they positioned poorly in the marketplace, and they lost more than $8 billion.
How?
Yeah. Which was its third straight year of billion-dollar losses.
Mm. I wonder if they had to cut half their employees.
Mm-hmm. But in 94, they had their first profits since 1990.
That's good.
Which is why they started going back up and such. Yeah. Fascinating that. If you want to look it up for yourself, it is the Wikipedia entry for the history of IBM. It's quite interesting. It's a long page. A very, very long page. But it's an interesting read.
Speaking of long pages. Fun fact about my parents.
Okay.
Actually, fun fact, though.
Okay.
My dad at one point had made a joke to my mom that he would write her the longest letter ever.
Okay.
He got a roll of receipt paper and wrote a letter, one line, along as much receipt paper as he could manage. And then, I don't know if he, finished out the roll or whatnot. Probably not. But cut it and, rolled it back up. And he's like, here, longest letter ever. And he showed it to me once, and it's, a good 60, 70 feet.
Nice.
So that's actually pretty cute.
That is kind of adorable.
Uh-huh. But that's a long page.
Indeed.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, back to the show. Grams realizes that it's inevitable that they're not going to answer that question. And is like, okay, fine, forget it. And then says, I always knew I would deliver the charmed ones. And Patty just kind of wrinkles her nose. She goes, once removed, of course. Which was very funny.
Which, I mean, if Phoebe was born in the house, it's reasonable to assume that Grams would have delivered her.
Yep.
Especially if they had to do what we now discuss that they end up having to do.
Mm-hmm. But so she turns to Prue. She goes Prue, and Prue nods. And then she turns and says Piper, and Piper just waves, which is kind of adorable.
And then she points to Phoebe and says, and then Phoebe just throws her hands up in the air and goes, Phoebe!
And Graham's like, oh, another P. What a surprise.
And Patty looks at her like, fuck, Mom, you're the one who started it.
Yeah, exactly.
As far as we know, we don't know a whole lot of other names of previous Halliwell witches, so who knows where precisely it started, but, Patricia and Penelope, Penelope, then Patricia, and then those three girls,
Yeah. But, so, Graham says that they have to bind the girls' powers.
And they're like, bind? Yes, strip them from the little ones.
Yeah.
So Nicholas can't get to them.
Which, if they had been thinking straight, duh, why don't you remember having powers as a kid? Oh, maybe because Graham was like, well, if we take them away, Nicholas can't take them from you.
Well, I mean, they wouldn't have known that until now.
I guess so.
Thinking about it, they didn't know they had their powers. They would assume it was like an initiation thing. Because, remember, the inciting incident was reading the passage in the Book of Shadows.
True.
So, then, it's easy to assume from what limited information they have that, getting your powers is a rite of passage, not something you're born with. And so, given that this is the first instance they've known that they had powers previously, they'd be like, what the fuck happened to them? And it might not have been connected to this particular storyline, if not for the fact that it is. Yeah. There's several ways that it could have gone. They just didn't know it would be, and this part is not obvious.
I guess so.
From a story perspective.
All right, fine, I'll allow it.
The whole Patty being pregnant, that is very obvious from a story perspective.
Yes.
If not for the fact that we already knew Phoebe would be happening. It's still obvious.
Yeah, absolutely. But then Prue, everyone with the tenses, says that's exactly what she did, or do, or will do. You know what I mean. It was adorable. And Piper says that explains why they don't remember having their powers. And Grams is like, well, wait, what do you mean? How old were you when you got your powers back?
Oh, we just got them.
Yeah. It's just, wait, I unbound your powers without having broken the pact? Why would I do that? I mean, unless I died, which of course would automatically unbound.
And they all look awkward on the couch.
Yeah. It was a moment where you're just like, well, shit. Grams now realizes that she's dead.
Yeah.
That's just sad.
She says a line about not getting to see the new millennium.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And then Phoebe tries to inform Mom that that's the case for her as well. But Graham stops her and says, no, we can't know any more about the future.
Heaven knows what damage you've already done just by coming back here. And Prue's like, well, we haven't done anything because we missed our chance. And Graham's like, well, there's a reason for that, because destiny always
gets its own way.
Yeah, and that it's not as easy to change the past as you'd think. And she starts walking out of the room, and they all jump up to follow her. It was very funny.
Follow Grams.
Yep. And she stops in the door and says that if they do anything incorrectly, that everything will change. The evil that they vanquished and the good that they've done, none of it may have ever happened. But Piper says that they have to change it because they can't go back in time and let him kill them. And Patty realizes that the only way to vanquish him in their time is for her to unbless the ring and take away the immunity. And that...
For those of you not used to the visual, I decided to sit here.
She'd been staring at me.
And then I decided to cross my eyes.
Yeah, it was the crossing the eyes that got it. Couldn't do it. Anyway. But that Patty says that the ring is in a drawer in his hotel room. And Phoebe's like, okay, well then we go to his hotel room and we steal the ring. Hopefully it'll be there. And Patty says that it's too dangerous because they don't have powers and that she'll go. And Prue's like, no, because if something happens to you, then future history could be changed forever. So
Phoebe
we have to go.
Have been born.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotta think about the baby.
Yeah, so she's like, well, we have to go. Just like Graham said. And Graham goes, well, I'm glad to see you finally learned to listen to me. And Prue just kind of cocks her head. And Piper glances at Phoebe, who just, waves her away. No, I don't want it. No.
We're not going to argue with our grandmother right now.
Yeah, it was very funny.
We'll do plenty of that in the future.
Yeah, it was very funny. So, Grams tells them to hurry, and that while they're gone, she'll write a new spell that'll get them back to their own time.
And they're like, you can do that? Darling,
we're witches. We can do anything.
Yeah. Except apparently cheat death.
Yeah, it was adorable. And Patty smiles at that. And Phoebe says, I wish that were true. And she's looking at Patty when she says it. And Patty's smile falters a little. And it's just a little sad. But the funny part is that Piper just glares at Phoebe. Like, shut up.
Keep it under wraps.
Yeah. So they say they gotta go. Patty tells them to be careful. And they leave. And then we get an exterior night shot of the hotel with all the flags.
Mm-hmm.
And we cut to Phoebe picking the lock of the hotel room door.
Prue is, of course, not surprised that Phoebe knows how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, we learn that Piper is downstairs watching for Nicholas should he come back up. Although, since none of them have cell phones in this time, we can only surmise that she will call that room.
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Phoebe opens the door, turns on the light, and Prue follows her in and shuts the door behind them.
And they go and rifle through all the drawers.
Yeah.
Prue finds it in the dresser drawer where it is.
And we get a lovely insert shot of the ring again.
Yep.
You know, that gaudy ring.
Gaudy body ring.
Mm-hmm. And Prue's like, okay, we gotta get it back to Mom. And then we get a quick exterior shot of the manor at night. And Grams and Patty are in the attic when the girls walk in. And Patty has changed her clothes. She is now in a blue shirt, tucked into jeans with a black belt, a thin, white, long-sleeve shirt over top of that, and a long, thigh-length, red, striped pattern, knitted, short-sleeve sweater thing on top of that.
Yep.
Plus a couple of necklaces.
Yep.
70's.
Yeah.
That's all there's no other word but 70's.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's how it goes.
That's it. So, Prue says, we've got the ring. What do we do now? And
Thrown in Mount Doom.
not the one ring.
It's the only ring in this episode.
Mm-hmm. Patty says that she'll unbless the ring and get it back to the hotel before Nicholas finds it missing. Now, what I want to know is how is she supposed to do that?
Also, now this is, my problem with time travel. This entirely could have been written to work. But if she's unblessed the ring, then by the time Nicholas comes to their house for what was for them that morning, their powers would have affected him.
Mm-hmm.
And everything would have been done.
Yeah, he would have been frozen in the hallway.
They wouldn't have had any spells to combat him with, but, you can work around that. To get a little stabby stab going. You're fine. Like, he's frozen. Great. Stab. Done.
Yep.
But it didn't. It wasn't unblessed in the future, and they know that. Because they already tried that.
Well, that's because...
I know what the show is going to say, but then it completely fucks it up even more. Like, I know what you're going to say the internal reasoning for that could be.
What do you think I'm going to say?
That because it hadn't been unblessed yet for them, it wasn't going to...
Oh, no, I was going to say they came back to an alternate universe.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's literally the only thing I thought of.
Okay.
Is they came back to an alternate universe. Because there's no way that you can time travel and not fuck with the universe.
Yeah.
And so they didn't come back to their time. They came back to the future that happened because of this.
Mm-hmm. Still.
Because, paradoxes. And...
Well, it could have been written to be internally consistent. Like, I don't know, if he started trying to boil their innards the second he realized that they had their powers. Like, you could have done that. And
Maybe.
then it would have been funny because Piper would have dropped the vase and she still would have had cleanup to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, if they didn't get the chance to use their powers, they couldn't have known it wouldn't work, and he just says it's blessed, so they can't use their powers. And since they're already boiling, they can't do anything about it.
Maybe.
That would work internally. I would believe that.
Yeah, I guess so.
But back to what's happening on the show right now.
Yeah. So, Phoebe has walked over to a desk in the back of the attic, while Grams is saying that they'll return to the exact moment they left, so Nicholas will be there when they get back. And Phoebe, we see her writing a letter that says, Mom, be careful on February 28th, 1978, or a warlock will drown you.
How do they know it's a warlock now? When was that explained? Did I forget?
I think it's just that they assume a warlock killed her.
Why would they assume that now?
Because...
Well, I mean,
now they're a witch, and so everything after them is warlocks?
But they don't do that. We've seen them assume everything is, natural causes before. So why would they now assume that their mother was killed by a warlock?
Because storytelling is what it is. And
or you will drown. That's simple enough. be careful, don't go near water, or you will drown on this day.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what you need to have the rock pit.
Who knows, man?
Yeah.
Who knows?
They're just inviting continuity error.
Whatever.
They didn't have a master.
They did not. Anyway, so we hear Piper saying that she's hopeful that he won't have immunity to their powers when they get back. And Prue is like, we'll be ready, don't worry about it, that kind of thing. And Phoebe comes over and they all start to, like, hug everybody. And Phoebe puts her letter into the Book of Shadows. She just kind of walks over and opens it to a page. And the page she opens it to is the truth spell that Prue used. And I just think that's hilarious.
It really is.
It was very, very funny. And so this next scene sounds like a bunch of it is ADR. Like, Piper's line is ADR and Phoebe's line is ADR. It was weird.
Yeah.
But Piper hugs Grams and goes, I'm never going to learn to like lima beans, but thanks for everything else. Which is adorable. It was super adorable.
And then when Grams hugs Phoebe, she looks at her and goes, you're going to be a handful. Phoebe says, you'll learn to love me, and pats her on the arm.
Yeah, it's great. And then she goes to hug Patty and says, I'm going to miss you. And Grams starts saying the spell, and nothing happens. And Patty's like, well, let me help you. So they both start saying the spell. And then we get twinkling lights encircling the girls, and they disappear. And Grams is like, you did well, they're safe, they're fabulous, whatever. Patty's like, well, I hope they're safe.
And then the twinkling lights reappear, and they come back.
And Prue's just like, oops. Which I thought was very funny. It was beautifully timed.
And turns out
that they didn't go anywhere.
And Grams is like, well, we did move them through time. Patty says, yeah.
10 seconds.
10 seconds.
But my favorite is Patty's like, I told you to use poplar buds.
It was a perfectly good spell.
Yeah, it was just, like, you could tell that they were, like, related. Like, they did very well pretending to be
Even though Jennifer doesn't seem old enough to be Finola's mother.
Well,
like, not quite old enough.
Well, it depends. It depends on how old she was when she had her.
True.
Yeah.
And which husband.
True.
Although I think that was her first husband. I think they explain it later.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't remember. But, so Grams is like, it's not the spell, that it must be the power behind the spell, there's not enough power. And Piper says that they need the power of 3. And Phoebe says the only problem is that it doesn't exist yet.
Have they forgotten? Are they stupid?
No, they're just not thinking about it, because now we go to a commercial break.
Oh, yeah, they had to have that line so they could go to commercial break.
Yep.
They could have ended on Piper's line of, I think it needs the power of 3.
They could have, but then they wouldn't have the next scene of them trying to figure it out.
Well, you can start that off with a question. Like, do we even have the power of 3? We don't have our powers.
Yeah.
And then they could click in and be like, oh, but wait, little Prue and little Piper do. And then Patty can remember, which, this is exactly what happens. They come back and they're talking about it, and Patty remembers, wait, no, I got a premonition from Phoebe. She's got to have hers. Little Prue and little Piper have theirs. We've got the power of 3, baby.
Yep, indeed.
Oh, do we ever.
Indeed.
We got the power.
Give us the power.
Yes.
Yes. So Patty thinks that if they can teach the little girls the chant, that maybe the 3 of them can get the big girls back to their time.
Yep.
And Prue's like, it's worth a try. And we hear Nicholas from downstairs.
And this is where the timeline gets even more fucked up. Because this entire plan hinged upon Nicholas not realizing his ring had been stolen.
Yeah. But I love the POV shot we get from Nicholas is from the top of the stairs looking down. And he comes in a tan leisure suit with a black shirt underneath.
Oh my
God.
God.
So 70s.
So pointy.
Oh my God.
Those lapels, so pointy.
It was, so 70s.
Man.
Yeah.
But yes. So now the problem becomes, okay, well, he'd already used this supposedly blessed ring on them, so it hadn't worked before, so if it had been unblessed in the past, then it would have still not been blessed. And if he knows it's been stolen, what the fuck does he think they're doing with it? Oh, I don't know. Probably unblessing it.
Well, no, see, I don't think he necessarily thinks that they're unblessing it. I think he just thinks that they stole it from him, so that he can't have it.
Yeah, but how the fuck is he going to test that out?
Yeah, I don't know, but, I mean...
It just really fucks with the timeline. Even more.
Well, a little bit, but...
Like, the whole plan hinges on him not realizing that anything has happened to this ring.
True, but somehow it all works out.
Which now has been fucked up.
Somehow it all works out. Yeah. But, so, Grams tells Patty and Piper to get the little girls, the bigger girls. They'll fend off Nicholas, and everyone leaves the attic except for Phoebe, who goes back to the Book of Shadows to take her letter out. She sticks it in her back pocket and runs out of the attic. And we cut to the stairs, where Nick is starting to walk up the stairs, and then Grams uses her power on him, and he flies into the air, lands on a table. Furniture annihilation quotient, 2. And Prue says, Grandma, don't get too close. His power. So now we have the third time that Grams is called Grandma.
Yeah.
And so now all 3 girls have called her that once. Grams is like, I know. And Phoebe says, we can't risk you being hurt, so go upstairs and help Mom start the spell. And Prue is like, Phoebe and I will take care of him. And they go running. Nicholas gets up, Phoebe runs in and kicks him in the head.
Yep.
It was great.
It was awesome. Those self-defense classes are really paying for themselves.
Yeah, it was lovely. So then we cut to the attic, and Patty and Piper come in with Little Prue and Little Piper, who are both in adorable pajamas.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So cute. Little Piper is wearing little red slippers and her little white PJ set that has a gingham rabbit motif.
Oh my god, yes.
So cute. And Little Prue is in bright pink slippers and a pink PJ set that has a line and flower detail.
Aww.
So adorable. So 70s. Very cute.
Absolutely precious.
Mm-hmm. Patty tells the little girls that they're going to play a game and teaches them the spell.
Asks them to, repeat after her the lines. Mm-hmm. And while she's saying them, Little Prue is pulling her mom's hair back from her face so she can stare at her because Mommy's a pretty lady and it's so cute.
Yes, it was adorable.
They do a good job repeating.
And when they get to the end of the spell, Little Piper gives Patty a hug.
No.
Which is so cute. And then we jump downstairs to see Prue smash Nicholas with a chair. Furniture annihilation quotient, 3. Prue and Phoebe then run out of the room, and we cut back up to the attic, where Patty and the little girls are now repeating this spell. They walk in, and Piper's like, we don't have much time, what about his ring? And Grams is like, well, don't worry about the ring right now. Let's just get you back to your time.
We'll take care of the ring.
Yeah. And Prue's like, well, but you did unbless it, right? And Graham's like, yes, but there wasn't time to test it to make sure that it actually worked. And this is when Phoebe gets a camera and takes a picture.
A little Polaroid from the table by the door and takes a picture of Mom with the 2 little girls whose hands are all on her stomach.
Yes,
it's
adorable.
Oh, so cute.
But we have a slight bit of continuity for when we see the outcome of this picture later.
True.
Because the picture later, look where little Piper's head is.
Yeah.
Okay. But when she took the picture, little Piper was looking down instead of to the left.
Yes. Small. Oh my god. Prue's pajamas. I love them.
They're so cute.
I love them so much.
So yeah. Super adorable.
Yes.
Prue wants to know how they know that the ring works, and Graham says that they won't until they get back, and since time will pick up right where
they left
off, that Nicholas won't know either.
Except he already does.
Well, but that's why I say, is I don't think that he thought that they... Yeah.
I don't know what they did, but the plan is fucked.
Well, the plan is definitely not perfect.
Yeah. It's not consistent. Yeah. They needed a continuity master to figure this shit out.
They did indeed.
Who could actually talk to the fucking scriptwriters.
Yeah, absolutely. But, they were making this shit up as they went along, so who knows. Anyway.
So, well, yeah, that's why it's called fiction.
Mm-hmm. So, they all hug, and Patty and the little girls speak the spell, and the twinkling lights encircle them, and they disappear, and they reappear in their own time. Now, I don't know if it was a continuity error, really,
it definitely was.
But...
They reappear far away from the Book of Shadows.
Well,
and in a completely different place in the attic.
Well, I don't necessarily have a problem with them reappearing in a slightly different place, because it was time and space, whatever. But when the lights circled them in 1975, Phoebe had her hand up.
Yeah.
In a wave goodbye, and Piper had her hands together, and when they get back to 1999, their hands are all down by their sides.
Okay, sure. And actually where they reappear is not too far from where they had disappeared in 1975. But the Book of Shadows has moved. It was pretty much right inside the door.
And that's why I say they came back to an alternate universe.
Okay, well, whatever.
Though also, to be fair, if you actually look at the picture, when they are leaving 75, they're facing one direction. And when they're back in 99,
The
they're
camera's
facing...
moved.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily that they've moved where they were.
Oh, no, that was not my issue. Like, their position in the attic.
Well, I'm just saying, the POV has changed a bit, so it's not necessarily...
The POV shouldn't change where they're standing.
I'm just saying that because the POV changed, they might not have changed where they were standing that much.
It still looked like it at slightly different positions. But that's forgivable. Where the book ended up, though, is weird.
Yeah, well, but that's why I say alternate universe. Anyway. So, they realize that they're back, and they hear Nicholas running up the stairs, and they flip through the Book of Shadows, and they find the spell as Nicholas barges through the door.
It's the Nicholas Must Die spell.
Yeah, which I thought was very, very funny.
With free spiced herb pouch or whatever.
Yeah, but before they find the spell, or at least before we hear what the spell is called, Nicholas comes barging in saying time is up, and Prue uses her power, and he flies through the air into a wardrobe.
An apparently empty wardrobe that just has a bunch of boxes
stacked
there's
filled
on
with
top
boxes, which furniture annihilation quotient
4.
Yeah. But the best part is that you can see the wire that made him, or should I say his stunt double, fly through the air. So there will be lovely pictures. You can see the wire.
Oh my god, yeah. That's great. That's beautiful. I love it.
I literally went frame by frame and took all the pictures I could see of the wire and the thing. I just thought it was very, very funny.
Yes, that's hilarious.
That you could totally see the wire that folded back into the thing.
That's how you know they didn't have frame by frame.
Yep.
Because then they couldn't clean that up in post. There was not much post. Which
But
means they could get things done post-haste.
Mm-hmm. But so because Prue's power worked on him, they realize that the ring is unblessed, so Piper freezes him. And this is when Phoebe finds the Nicholas Must Die spell that wasn't there before. And Prue, still working on her tenses, says that maybe that's just Gramps' way of saying, welcome back! Or front.
She doesn't say forward, she says front.
Yeah, it was great.
And walks over to get a pestle off of the table.
Yeah, the mortar and pestle. And
I think she just grabs was the mortar in it?
Yeah, I think the mortar was in it, yeah. And it was like a metal one.
Yeah. It was cool.
Yeah. I have a mortar and pestle.
I have a mortar, and it was in one of my tea boxes.
I have a marble mortar and pestle. It's very large and very heavy.
Nice. Well, it's marble.
Yeah, well...
I mean, you ain't gonna move that with your telekinesis.
Nope. I would need 8 of Phoebe's friends.
It's a fucking eyesore.
It's actually quite pretty.
Yes, but by Prue's standards, it's a fucking eyesore.
Yeah, well... But
which means she doesn't want to look at it when she's fucking.
Okay.
You're welcome.
No, when I got my mortar, the pestle was actually wood. With this marble mortar. And I'm like, well, that's bullshit. And so I got myself a marble one to go with it.
See, I can imagine, like, having the actual end be marble and then the handle be wood.
Yeah, no.
Because that's a lot less cold.
No, the entire thing was wood.
Yeah, that's weird.
Then what's the point? Yeah,
it's just gonna dent.
Yeah.
Super easily.
And you can't really use liquids.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I was mad at it. So I got myself a marble one. So now I have a marble one. I haven't really done much with it.
I used to grind spices with mine.
Yeah.
I don't know where the pestle is, though. But it was just like ceramic. Bitch to clean, though.
So, Phoebe says...
needle pulling thread.
Oh, God. Phoebe says that the spell pouch was included at no extra charge, which was kind of funny. And Piper pours the powder from the pouch into the mortar, and it goes up in a puff of smoke.
And immediately begins doing the whole dry ice thing.
Yeah. And Piper goes, oh dear! Which was the best reaction to that. It was funny as hell.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the spell. Normally we don't necessarily say the spells, but I just love the spell that Grams wrote was Lavender Mimosa, Holy Thistle, cleanse this evil from our midst. Scatter its cells throughout time. Let this Nick no more exist. Which is just great. Because it's so specific. You know?
Yeah.
It's lovely.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. And
it's so succinct.
It is. And so Nick then spins around very fast with some fun CGI double and triple exposure.
Oh my god.
And then
his arms flailing about.
Yeah, and then he explodes into dust.
Like in a Star Wars style sort of explosion where there's like the central ring going out from a ball of flame kind of deal.
Mm-hmm. And the last bit of him that we see is his head screaming in the air. It's very funny. And then the ring drops to the floor. And Prue comments that she's really glad she never got on Grams's bad side.
Honey, Grams's bad side for you? Oh, yeah. Come on. Hey, you were totally on it. Let's face it. Oh. You're her grandkids.
Yeah, absolutely.
And she raised you. Yeah. You were definitely on it. But also, she's not going to vanquish her grandchildren.
Yeah. But I want to know what they did with that ring. The ring falls to the ground. What did they do with it?
Go on a quest?
No.
Form a fellowship?
No.
Make buddy-buddy with a dwarf and an elf?
No.
Find the mystical horn of Gondor? I almost said Han of Gondor.
Anyway.
Would you like me to explain more of the plot of Lord of the Rings to you?
No, not really. Not today.
Ooh, but they will have to go through Moria.
Anyway, we fade to an exterior shot of the manor the next day, and in the wicker room, Prue and Phoebe are looking at the photos again. Piper brings in the vase of flowers that Nicholas brought the day before.
And as Phoebe and Prue are talking, Phoebe points at the flowers and looks confused. And Piper says, "What? I'm supposed to throw away perfectly good flowers just because a creep gave them to us? If that were the case, we'd never have flowers in this house."
Uh-huh. It was very funny. It was very, very funny. So, Piper is wearing gray pants and a black shirt. Prue has her hair in some adorable pigtail braids.
Like little pigtail French braids, because now her hair is long enough to do that, and it's super cute. I love it.
Super adorable. She's in jeans and a long sleeve black shirt that has 2 white lines on the left sleeve, but not the right sleeve.
IDK.
I want to say Adidas again. Like, I mean, it was weird.
Sais pas.
Yeah.
And Phoebe, her hair is up, like, twisted back and clipped.
Yeah.
And like a big butterfly clip with a couple strands hanging out. And she is wearing a purple shirt.
It was pink, but you have to start with jeans.
Oh, fine. She was wearing jeans.
She was in dark blue jeans and a pink shirt that has long sleeves, a turtleneck, and a boob window. Like, legit boob window.
It's extra funny because of how casually dressed her sisters are right now. Oh my god.
Boob window.
Boob window. What the fuck? Is she auditioning for Wonder Woman later that day?
Yeah, I don't know. Now,
or Supergirl or something? Because the only time you ever see a boob window like that is on superhero comics, because superhero comic writers don't fucking know shit.
Yes, but my only thing about it is that you can kind of see that there's the possibility that the turtleneck long sleeve thing is a shrug. It's not actually attached.
Did she just put on backwards?
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly don't know if it was put on backwards or if it was
it's definitely a full turtleneck. I don't know if it buttons in the back or whatever, but it's not meant to be left open.
Yeah,
because then it wouldn't hang that way around her neck.
Yeah, I don't know. But you can kind of tell at the boobs that
it's going around the side.
Yeah, the scoop neck of the top comes back up like it has spaghetti straps.
under the thing.
Yeah.
So Phoebe, why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah, it was...
Also, someone would have told her to wear it that way.
Yeah, it was very weird.
Yes.
Very 90s, but very weird.
Oh, and extra weird because her sisters are looking so casual.
Yeah.
And she's just got a boob window.
Yeah.
The fuck.
Yeah. But Phoebe's saying that she can't stop thinking about Mom, and Prue's just glad that she finally has some memories of her, which, was nice. And this is when we get the flower comment. And Prue says that the flowers didn't come from a creep, they came from a warlock who tried to kill them. And that's when Phoebe says that if it wasn't for him, that she probably would have never gotten to know Mom. And mentions that she wrote Mom a note telling her to stay away from water on the day that she died.
And of course, her sisters are reasonably, alarmed by this.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of personal gainy.
Yeah. And she says that they don't understand that every time she's made a wish for something, she's wished for more time with Mom. And that
when she finally got it, she didn't want it to be over.
Yeah. But she finally realized that she had to let her go, so she took the note out of the book and put it in her pocket. And Prue goes, "Maturity sucks, doesn't it?" Which was very funny. And Piper says that faith has its rewards, and she shows them the picture.
The picture that Phoebe took of all 3 of them with Mom.
Yeah. saying that it was a good one of her and Prue.
But once again, not such a great one of Phoebe's. Phoebe snatches it from her, looks at it and goes, Are you kidding me? This is the best picture of me I've ever taken.
And then they all smile, and Phoebe holds the picture up to her nose. And it's adorable.
It's extra ironic because, you know, like, people always complain about the photos they take of themselves. They never look good. But, you know, Phoebe objectively got the perfect photo of herself because there are no visible flaws. There's no actual visible Phoebe either.
Yeah, absolutely. But she just holds the picture up to her nose, like, look at this. This is me. La la la. It was super.
And I love thinking about how they might pass that off if they're showing it to normies.
To normies?
Like normal people.
Well, it looks like Grams just took it.
Well, no, not the who took it, but just like what this moment means, like that it's of all three of them, but like we don't see Phoebe. Oh yeah, this was when Mom told the other two that she was pregnant.
Yeah, there you go.
Again, so like here, feel my tummy. There'll be a baby in there.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I like it. And then we get the end credits.
Mm-hmm.
And we're done.
Oh my god.
So we are at our ratings portion. You get to go first this week.
Yay! And I'm gonna give it 8.5 out of 10 nonsensical boob windows.
I love it.
Just, oh my god.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that really stands out to me.
Yeah. I give it a 9 out of 10 lava lamps and gaudy jewelry.
Oh, yes. See, I would have given it higher, but it really did have so many plot problems. Like, I still maintain that this is among the best episodes, and certainly of the first season, it's probably top 3, I would say. Top 3 or 4.
I don't know. I'll figure out my tops when we get to the end of the season, because I don't remember.
It's not like I ever make a list. I just estimate every goddamn time.
Yeah, well, you know, I have a list, so...
You checking it twice?
Maybe.
Gonna find out who's naughty or nice?
Possibly.
Are you Santa Claus?
Shh. Anyway, stop looking at me like that. I'm not Santa Claus.
Do you get letters from small children addressed to the North Pole?
I do not. I get the misshapen letters that are addressed to Satan instead.
Oh, man. Satan's gotta have fun with that.
Mm-hmm.
Be like, but these kids believe in me. I've gotta get them their presents.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, that brings us to our outfits.
Yes.
Phoebe, it has to be the boob window shirt
from
the end. There's no contest.
It seriously is.
Like, penis color cannot compete with a boob window.
She only has 2 outfits.
All of them only have 2 outfits.
This is true.
Yeah. But for Piper and Prue, I kind of want to pick
feel free. Feel free.
Like, the little red outfit that little Prue was wearing, I just love that so much.
The little overalls.
Yeah, like, I'm totally picking the little version of them's outfits, because I can't.
It's the cutest.
They're just, it's so adorable. Well, because Piper's outfit, both of them, were just boring.
Yeah.
They were just boring. And Prue's outfit was kind of boring, too.
And weird.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't quite a crop top, and also it was a t-shirt.
Yeah, like, it was a little weird. So I'm going with the little ones out.
Like, it was a youth length, but adult width.
Yeah, it was weird. Very, very weird.
Mm-hmm. But then Patty, I'm gonna go with that thing at the end where she's got, like, all of the things.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the dress
She's
was
got
pretty.
the shirt. She's got the long sleeve shirt. She's got the sweater shawl jacket thing.
Yeah.
And the necklaces.
Yeah. It was weird. But it was cool.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Did Grams change at all?
Nope. No. Grams was only in the one outfit.
I liked the outfit. That was nice.
Yeah, it was quite nice. A little house dress.
Mm-hmm. And Nicholas' leisure suit.
Yeah. Because, you know.
Although I'm torn between that and the fake stash. The horrendously fake stash. Speaking of fake mustaches, I found one at work yesterday.
Did you?
Yes. And I almost didn't find it because it was the same color as the inside of this violin case. Because it was black. And so I pick up the violin, and I'm like, did someone cut the lining right there? Why is there an edge? Why do I see an edge? And I move it, and I'm like, oh, this is a fake mustache. It's like the same material.
That's funny.
Uh-huh. I took a picture of it on my Pizza John mug.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
So that's us done for another week.
Mm-hmm.
So you can always email us at charmchats@gmail.com.
You can find us at Charm Chats on many of your social media sites.
Yes.
And
Facebook, Instagram,
and if we're not at
Pinterest.
Charm Chats, we're at Charm Chats Pod, but that's mostly just Twitter and Tumblr.
Yeah, Twitter and Tumblr, we have Charm Chats Pod. I'm still trying to get Charm Chats from Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping to do that before we hit second season.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. And as always, you can donate to the pod at patreon.com/charmchats. We do have our first patron, and I'm very, very excited about it.
Yes.
So we want to thank Regina for being amazing and helping us out a little bit. We shout your name into the ether. Regina! Regina!
The ether appreciates.
Mm-hmm. I think it enjoys it.
Mm-hmm.
So until next week.
Good night. Don't let the warlocks bite.
Bye!
Bye.
Phoebe, Piper, and Pooh, we've got evil to slay and some potions to brew. So we'll see where it's at next week with Kendra and Kat on Charm Chats.
Fucking Roger.
Yeah, fucking Roger and stupid, not sweet calves.
Regina! Regina!